2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning, DA. How are you?
Hello! Hello!
Good morning, my neighbor!
Get off! Damon Amendolara.
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, buddy.
It's a brand new day. Ain't no clouds hanging over me. Something doesn't feel the same. The rest of my life gonna start today. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gonna start today.
Yeah.
Bing the bang the boom dong boom ding.
Let the big dog eat!
DA, great question.
All aboard the dog.
This is why you do what you do. Yo.
Somebody stop me.
Have some fun with your marriage.
I'm coming to you to be fat. Let me be fat.
Look it.
There's so many sickos in this country.
This is facts. Oink, oink. Ow!
Hot and hurt.
I like pleasuring myself.
This is so dumb.
A little more juice.
What?
I am broken.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gonna start today.
CBS Sports Radio.
Well, as I was saying, I was listening to the radio. I heard something. And what did you hear? A hissing sound like this.
Hey, T.A. Hey, D.A. Let me aboard that mothership.
Permission to board that mothership, sir.
Well, you know I had to slide through the intergalactic swag party. D.A., man, beam me up. What's going on, my brother from another mother? Beam me up. You guys are the best.
Guys, make it permission to board that mothership.
Mothership has connected.
And you the man, D.A.
Happy Friday to you, North America. The mothership has connected. Welcome aboard. It's the 4-hour Big Bang Barbecue. DA with you from the CBS Sports Radio studios in New York City. Broadcasting to affiliates nationwide and north of the border. Anchorage to Atlanta, Santa Fe to Savannah, Kalamazoo, and Waterloo Way are on the air.
They listening, D.A. Everything we saying, D.A. Everything.
Thanks so much for being with us. It's a Target Demo Friday. We shall release the Kraken, a meme encapsulating everything from this wild and woolly week that was here aboard the mothership. When we do that, you can let us know where you are, how you're listening, and we'll read through those coming up at the end of the show. This morning on the program, the great Kevin Harlan's going to join us. The NBA on TNT. We'll talk NBA postseason with Kevin Harlan. He'll join us in hour number 4. Canadian Bacon in hour number 3. And this hour in 20 minutes sound check. In 40 minutes, would you trade a welt the size of a golf ball for free beer? All that coming up this morning on the show. Last night, Game 2 in Denver. Another victory by the Nuggets. Tight affair throughout, but Jamal Murray in the fourth quarter was excellent, nearly flawless, and helps elevate the Nuggets to a Game 2 victory. They've taken the first 2 games of the series. These are some spicy Nuggets. Too much for the Lakers. It is where we begin. Your cold open.
5 on the clock to Jokic. Back to Murray. Murray goes to the right hand. He gets jumped by LeBron. Takes a 3. That one's good! Nuggets up by 9. Jamal Murray left for the dead in the first half has come alive.
He was frustrated because he wasn't making shots that he's accustomed to making. And I said, don't allow your offense to dictate your game. Find a way to get your defense into the game and then build off of that. And obviously for him to go out there and get 37, 10, and 5 and score 23 in the fourth quarter was just a tremendous boost for us.
Lakers inbound over to LeBron. Here comes the freight train across the timeline. Picked his pocket clean. Did Bruce Brown. And Denver's going to win game number 2. There's the horn. Denver takes a commanding 2-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals.
What do you take out of it is the fact that this is not the NCAA tournament. It's the first team to 4 wins. And we have an opportunity to go home and play great basketball and home serve. Until the team beats you 4 times, then you always have an opportunity to come out of it.
I don't believe it! The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes.
It's your cold open.
That was Nuggets Radio on the call. 108-103. Jamal Murray, 37 points last night. And I said this before, I think the Nuggets are great for NBA fans. They play a fun style of basketball. Jokic is a generational type player. Nobody's ever played like him. So you're seeing something totally unique to the history of the NBA every time you watch them. But also, the way they assembled this team is not something that you can't envision your own team doing. They found Jokic in the second round, and Jamal Murray was the 8th pick overall. That's not insane to collect those 2 guys. If you have a top 10 pick and then a second rounder, you can do this. Now, of course, you've got to nail them. And both those guys were clearly undervalued when they were drafted. But Jamal Murray's turned into such a valuable scorer and such an important running mate for Jokic because the last 2 years, Jokic has been an MVP. The last 2 seasons, Jokic has won the Most Valuable Player award, but they didn't get through the second round of the playoffs. They were not nearly as dangerous as they were in 2020. When really this thing coalesced, they went to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble against the Lakers. And now this year when they're the 1 seed, the best record of the NBA, all because Jamal Murray is healthy again. Like I said, Jokic has been doing this type of thing for the last couple of years. But the difference this season is that he's got a running mate that can score in bunches and explode in fourth quarters and is elite from the outside. When he gets cooking, he's hard to slow down in Jamal Murray, and that's the perfect second scorer. It's the perfect second piece of the puzzle for a team vying for a championship. So what a performance by Murray when it mattered most last night. And I think if you're the Lakers, you walk out of these 2 games disappointed that you didn't get one of the 2. I think you're disappointed because there were pivot points in both games that could have went the Lakers' way and didn't. They closed game one to within 3 points, and last night it was really nip and tuck throughout the entire game until the fourth quarter when Murray went off. So you're disappointed that you didn't get one of the first two because you could have, but you know that you've been able to play with the Nuggets when it's come down to it. I think the issue is if you're the Lakers and you turn around after last night, you wonder what it would have looked like if Anthony Davis had actually hit some of those shots. And I know that AD has a reputation now for not showing up specifically in even games. So he shows up for the opener, then goes to sleep, then shows up in game 3, then goes to sleep, then shows up in game 5. You get the bit. I don't know if I would say that last night he didn't show up. I thought that the energy level was there, the activity level was there, but the shots didn't fall. He hit just 4 of 15 last night. If AD shoots 8 of 15, that could be a Lakers win. Hell, if he shoots 6 of 15, that could have been a Lakers win. So I know that today you're going to look at the box score. I'm sure that people today are going to rip AD because, again, it's an even game where the Lakers lose, and it's going to be, see, here we go again. But I'm not so certain that I would put this in the same category as previous ones where he was MIA. I think Davis can be much better than that last night, and that's what the Lakers have to hope for, that going back to L.A., really both AD and LeBron are a little bit better because LeBron didn't have a great night last night either. Had just 22 points of the night. Had the breakaway dunk that he fumbles out of bounds. Again, is that going to make a difference in the game? They lose by 5. That was 2 points. Who knows? But LeBron wasn't quite on his dominant self either. So I would expect a much better, full-fleshed, well-rounded effort out of the Lakers in Game 3. They go back home. They played very well at home in L.A., I think you'll get a better Lakers team in Game 3, but what happens with losing the first two is now you have to get both. There is no room for error because you can't go down 3-1. And I know that LeBron has come back from down 3-1. That was the 2016 NBA Finals, famously against the Warriors. But this Lakers team is an older Lakers team. It takes more for LeBron to click it into that next year. And you're chasing a squad of the Nuggets that, you have to go play at altitude in Game 5 and Game 7. So you got to take the next two. I don't think the Lakers are out of this. I don't think the season's over. I don't think the series is over. But the Lakers have to now take both games. And so I know that they're not, quote, must-wins technically until, you're down to your final gasp. But as we like to say around here, they're got-to-have-it games. Game 3 and Game 4 they might not be must-win, but they're got-to-have-it games. Here's your phone number, 855-212-4CBS on Twitter, DA on CBS. Last night of the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Finals, Carolina and Florida finish regulation 1-1. They go to overtime. 2-2. In overtime, nothing through the first overtime. Second overtime, nothing through the second overtime. Third overtime, nothing through the third overtime. Which brings us to 4 OTs. 4 of them. And the time is ticking down on the 4th overtime. Now think about this. An NHL game is 3 periods long. In the playoffs, there is no shootout. There's no overtime win. There is just win or lose. We have played twice as much time as regulation. And now we're into the 4th OT. And this This is how it ended.
And now Ekblad will take over in the neutral zone as the Hurricanes couldn't advance it. Ekblad dumps it in down to our right. Here's Brent Burns, keeps it to the outside. Sam Bennett keeps it in out front. Tkachuk is shot. He scores! He scores! Matthew Tkachuk, the overtime winner. The Panthers take game 1, 3-2. The final. Matthew Tkachuk ends the marathon, and the Panthers go home happy tonight here in Raleigh.
That's Florida Panthers radio. Your fourth overtime ending, man, Tkachuk. With 19:47 into the fourth overtime, which means they were 13 seconds away from a fifth overtime. I don't have the stats in front of me, but Mraz, this has to be one of the longest playoff games ever, correct?
I believe the official count was this is the 6th longest game ever. We had a couple 6s and 2 5s, I believe were the case. I saw this on my my ride in this morning. I was at a 3 last year.
You were at a 3?
The first Ranger-Penguin game last year went 3 overtimes, and that was the game I told you people actually started smoking cigarettes because they sent employees home and anything went in the arena.
Yeah. 4 overtimes last night. Almost 4 full overtimes last night. So Florida gets game number 1.
And it was the 6th.
It was the 6th longest hockey game ever.
Yes.
And it's not like in the playoffs they have a shortened overtime period. It is full 20-minute period. So you played 20, 20, 20 regulation, and then last night 20, 20, 20, and then nearly another 20.
Yes.
In game 1, how can these guys have legs the rest of the series?
Right, and they got to come back out on Saturday night. That's why losing a game like that when it gets so long is brutal. Brutal. Could put you behind the 8 ball. The longest game, by the way, 1936, the Red Wings beat the Montreal Maroons. Everybody remembers this game greatly. 1-0 in the 6th overtime on Mud Brutino's goal at 160 minutes, 30 seconds to play.
Crunch time, especially in the playoffs, Mud Brutino's was always an absolute sniper.
Absolutely. Great Red Wing.
You just knew clutch time, especially in the 30s, how that was defined, was Mud Brutenhose time.
Yeah, he got dirty.
Real dirty. So you're telling me that game 2 is S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y night. S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y night.
S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y night. S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y night. Saturday night. Saturday night. Gonna keep on dancing to the net and goal on Saturday night. Saturday night. Dancing to the rhythm in our net and goal on Saturday night. Saturday night. Saturday night. Saturday night. Saturday night. Saturday night.
Somehow that's getting worse. Somehow that...
Oh, I disagree.
Somehow your voice is getting worse in that.
I firmly disagree. Every time I hear that, I start to think more and more I could have been a Bay City Roller.
Oh, game 2.
Maybe not.
Game 2. Saturday night.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him anymore. The kid in Twin Falls doesn't want to hear this.
Florida gets game 1, and the Panthers were the last team in the NHL playoffs to qualify, and now they get game 1 in a marathon fashion of the Eastern Conference Finals. When we come back, your best audio of the day. That includes Kenny Smith talking about the OJ chase. Also, the crew on the NHL on TNT set last night had it with 4 overtimes, and we have a Shep JR moment from last night. Woohoo! DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
This Ranger team might be the best team of any of my teams in my entire life.
And you lived through the 90s Yankees that won 4 out of 5.
That is how special a year I think this could be.
You were alive in 1994.
Right. I think this team's better.
It's not.
Better goalie.
I mean, it's not.
Mraz just called Adam Fox the Steph Curry of the NHL.
So what? Except, it's okay to accept. Pete was calling him the 86 Mets all year. Nobody got on him. They were playing taps on the trumpets by the end.
Except that, you know why? Because Pete's been beaten down by his teams, and so when he has the rare moment of optimism, you just take it and be like, hey, this is a good moment for him. You do this with every team ever.
I haven't been beaten down. I've had the worst team in football for half a decade, and the last time I saw a Stanley Cup, I was in first grade. I haven't been beaten down.
You have 2 Super Bowls as an adult. Pete hasn't seen a good Jet team in his life.
He's also a Yankee fan. How much winning do you need?
I was in my 20s the last time they won a World Series. 35.
I was 1 when I saw any championship. I didn't realize what was going on.
You lived through 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2009. Since you've won the AL East almost every year. You've gone to the ALCS multiple times. How can you possibly claim you root for losers?
The last decade has been losers since I've been an adult male.
You watched an 07 Super Bowl, a 2011 Super Bowl. How can you possibly claim you root for losers?
Because I've seen the dramatics. I haven't seen steady. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've seen the Giants became the Lions and Browns.
What
They're
was
back.
the 09 Yankees?
A long time. Damn, I was 22 years old. Think of that. 22 was a young man. Whole world in front of me. Time's ticking here. I feel like Jerry Jones.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS presents this program in color.
An educated person can't think he's going to get a recruit by strippers coming in.
They can fire you, but they can't eat you.
And they run through our ass like through a tin horn, man, and we could not stop them.
The audio you need to hear. It's DA's Soundcheck.
You can always watch the show. Check out the simulcast on YouTube, either on your laptop, desktop, phone, on the app. You can also watch us on Twitch and at watchda.com. Just check out the CBS Sports Radio channel on those platforms, and you can watch us every single morning. We begin with Kenny Smith from the NBA on TNT. He was on Sirius XM. Smith and the Rockets won the 1994 NBA Finals over the New York Knicks in 7 games. That was the year that the finals were interrupted as the OJ White Bronco chase was happening simultaneously. Here's Kenny.
I don't know if you've ever been like to the NBA playoffs or finals. The finals for sure. On the stanchions, on the where the courtside seats are, all the TVs would be there as well. So when we called the timeout, most of the players you see now, even they sit on the top of the stanchion.
Sure.
And I look back, and I'm like, I see OJ running. I see the Bronco chase, and I'm like, OJ Simpson on the run. And so I'm looking in the huddle. I say, oh my God, OJ's on the run. In the middle of the huddle of the NBA Finals. That's what I scream out. I said, oh my God, OJ's on the run. And so Rudy Tomjanovich, who was coaching at the time, goes, what are you talking about? Everybody's like, what? He's on the run. He's on the run. Like, hey, what are you doing? Let's focus on, let's get the ball inside to Akeem and make sure that we Starks on the perimeter. So everybody's like getting focused. And so we're going back out. He pulls me back and he said, Kenny, is he really on the run?
So he really wanted to know if there was on the loose.
It was one of those moments that did feel even bigger than the NBA Finals. And that was a finals that had a lot of drama in it. It would go 7 games, but also that the Knicks had been without a championship since the 70s. The Rockets had never won a championship before. It was Ewing versus Olajuwon. It felt like it was so huge, and yet the OJ chase for that day, for that night, did overwhelm it. And if you watch that documentary about that singular day, that 30 for 30, it's a great documentation and exploration of everything chaotic that happened that day. But it's a little hard to explain to somebody that didn't see it why it felt so ridiculous, how it felt so cataclysmic, because today we only know OJ as a complete joke. OJ today is a complete farce. He goes on social media. He looks like an idiot. He says dopey things. He's a punchline. Everybody knows this. At the time in 1994, he was an A-list celebrity. If he wasn't A-list, he was B-list. OJ, who would be the athletic equivalent today? A retired player, handsome, good-looking. Everybody loved him. He was on national TV all the time. He was a reporter. He was doing sideline from Monday Night Football. He was in The Naked Gun. I mean, what is the comp to OJ today?
I was going to say Shaq.
Huh.
Not the greatest player of all time.
But one of the greatest.
One of the greatest in movies, in TV, and is constantly part of broadcasting. You know, obviously the NBA and TNT crew.
Not bad. The only difference would be that Shaq does play the fool quite a bit. Shaqtin' the fool. You know, he likes to joke around. He likes to be a comedian. And he likes to, he doesn't mind having people poke fun at him. OJ was a little above the fray, though. OJ wasn't a clown. OJ was like Hollywood royalty in some way.
Somebody mentioned Strahan.
Strahan's a good one. That's a great one. So imagine during the NBA Finals, Michael Strahan was accused of double homicide and was in a Bronco or a Jeep or SUV being chased by the cops at a low speed throughout the entire night. And it was broadcast on every network. Be like, what is Strahan doing? Why is he being chased? If he's innocent, why is he running away? And he's being driven by Kerry Collins?
Jesse
Strahan's
Armstead?
buddy. Yeah, Jesse Armstead is driving Strahan in a white SUV through the freeways of LA being chased by a team of 20 cop cars. And we're wondering whether Strahan's going to commit suicide on national TV or like drive to Mexico. It was so insane. And it is one of those events where it's impossible to know what social media and the modern media would have done with that. Because at the time in 94, it is happening and NBC has to make a decision. CBS is carrying the Bronco chase and ABC is carrying the OJ chase and Fox is carrying the OJ chase. I assume Fox at the time, there was a very young network, but NBC has to go, well, we've got the finals on. What do we do? And so they went split screen. They would jump back and forth. And people that were really into Knicks and Rockets were like, I don't want to see the OJ chase. Well, I kind of want to see the OJ chase, but I want to see basketball. And you couldn't flip over to your smart TV. You couldn't scroll on Twitter. You couldn't be on your phone and watch a second screen. Whatever NBC was putting out there, you had to watch. And so you were kind of caught hostage by what's more important here, that OJ is running from the cops and being accused of double murder, or the NBA Finals game. So I understand what Kenny Smith is saying there. It was the one event that did seem to feel almost bigger than a huge NBA Finals that already felt like an enormous tilt. Here's Paul Bissonnette on the NHL on TNT last night. Panthers Hurricanes went 4 overtimes before the third OT. Here's Biss.
What is possibly being said at this point?
Nothing.
They're trying to get the
nothing. They're looking at each other and they're saying, "Can someone please just put the puck in the goddamn net?"
And the rest of the guys are like, "Oh." There was a, "Oh."
Look out. Gretzky got real grumpy on the set apparently late last night, too.
That's what I heard. That's what I read. That everybody was pointing out that Gretzky did not want to be there anymore.
He wanted to put on his flannel PJs and the socks and go to bed.
I don't think Gretz necessarily wants to be there anyway, even on a regular night.
Right.
But having to work twice as long, I mean, that's like we get off the air at 10 after doing a 4-hour shift. And at 10 a.m., they're like, oops, sorry, Bill Ryder's not showing up today. Okay. So then we got to do the next 2 hours. They're scrambling. And they're saying that if we could just get a hold of Shep, don't worry, you guys can go home. So they call Shep, they text Shep, nothing through the first segment. All right, second segment. Now we're through the first hour, okay? They're like, we're getting nothing on Shep, but if we can get Carlos with a K, you guys can go home. All right, first segment of the hour, number 2, second segment. Now we're through 2 hours. They're like, wait, we're getting nothing there either. We're going to try EJ. If we can get EJ, you guys can go home. And we keep doing this. And so that's what these guys on set were doing. Like, in hockey, there's no way to know how long it's going to go. It is possible it could have gone. Look, we were 13 seconds away from a 5th overtime, which means, was it 15 minutes in between overtimes?
Yes.
So another 15, and then who knows? The 5th overtime takes another 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then maybe you're sitting with your dad and you have to explain to him how he has to get home because apparently at 60 he can't figure out how to take a train. It's a tough spot to be in.
You went to a Rangers playoff game last year against the Penguins, and it went 3 overtimes, and Bob the Deli Man was freaking out.
Well, because it was getting to the point you had to wonder about a 4th overtime, and we were not going to leave, and the train schedule was going to get dicey to the point where I would not be able to get home and get back in time to do the show. So, of which I alerted him, he's going to have to go home on his own. I'm going to go sleep at the office for an hour and then wake up and just be at work in my dirty, disgusting Rangers clothes, which I would come to anyway. But nonetheless, and his quote to me was, how am I going to get home? I said, well, the train that we got here on, the same train you taught me how to take when we went to games my whole life, that's how you're going to get home. I don't know how to do that.
That's ultimate hard hat guy, by the way, going straight from triple overtime loss, couch at the radio station, crusty jersey. That's respect right there.
He didn't do that, though.
Well, I would have done it if it went to fourth overtime. I would have had no choice. But, yeah, how did we get? What do you mean? You taught me my whole life how to take the train. Get on it.
They still take tokens?
What level? Now, Gretzky was the ultimate playoff, clutch guy. He loved playoff games. He loved showing up for big moments. That's why Gretzky's the great one. But how if his compete level was at 10 when he was playing for playoff games, what's his compete level at as an analyst for playoff games?
1.5.
It's 1.5, and then by the third overtime, it's a half?
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody else there is giving you way more insight. He's just there for that staying power. What's Gretz got to say? Nothing. He wants to go to bed.
He's sitting there. He's probably saying, my number's retired across the league.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here
with
these guys watching other people play.
Watching Panthers Hurricanes into fourth
Not
overtime.
even my old Oilers in the
Panthers Hurricanes. He's watching a game in Raleigh into the fourth overtime on a Thursday night, and Gretz goes, how did my life get to this? Why did I say yes?
The lengths he will go to get out of the house and away from his wife is just exemplary.
Yeah. I've heard that Gretz is a great guy to go out with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
that.
cool.
I've heard that Gretz around an open bar is elite.
Oh, I like that.
Is elite, which is, to your point, I think he just wanted to get out of the house. That's why he took this job.
Yeah.
Finally, here's Shep, speaking of, talking to JR last night of the JR Sport Brief with maybe a little fake out, little head fake on last night's Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Final.
Hey, Shep, what say you? Somebody's going to finish this off in this overtime, right?
Oh, my God, the game just ended. I'm kidding. It's still 2-2. It's probably going to be over by this overtime. I'm with Marco on this. Definitely before the end of your show.
Yeah, it'll be the third. Hey, Shep, that was a terrible, terrible joke.
No, but it wasn't because you're always either ahead of me or we're ahead of you.
No.
30 seconds.
No, that's not.
Seriously, I thought you had me because that slap shot almost went in. So I thought you had me.
Yeah,
That wasn't that bad.
Irrelevant of timing, you understand that I read nothing into what you said.
Man, you're tough on my jokes sometimes, JR.
Because the jokes suck.
Got it.
Wait a second. Does the JR Sport Brief need Morty D'Souza to show up?
Hey, Chef, what say you? Somebody's going to finish this off in this overtime, right?
Oh, my God, the game just ended. I'm kidding. It's still 2-2. It's probably going to be over.
Can Morty work a double and do the night show into the morning show? He's already sleeping on the job with us.
Yeah, is Morty a hard hat guy? I don't know.
No.
How about Shep responding, got it? At the
Because the jokes suck.
Got it.
JR rules with an iron fist. Hey, Shep. Man, that joke sucked. Got it?
Because the joke sucked.
Got it.
Here's the...
And I think you suck, too.
You suck, Shep. Again, though, we found a problem with... I think we've been down this road on the air with Shep and the jokes, though. Commit. He gives it up so quickly.
Yeah, he laid out very quickly.
His timing is terrible. Now, you don't want the audience thinking the game is over. I get it, but... Oh, wow, yeah, the game's over. No, just kidding. Like, you got to give it, 2-3 seconds. He has no comedic beat.
But then when he says got it after JR rips him, his timing's actually perfect, and it's completely unintentional.
Because the joke sucked.
Got it.
like that is...
That's the punchiness we need.
That's comedy.
He's used to that. He's used to people criticizing his jokes.
Shep, that joke sucked. And I want to punch you right in the face, right?
Got it.
And the only reason I'm not punching in the face because I don't want you to call out and Jack be here.
Got it.
I love JR and Shep. I think they're amazing. I really do. I think they're absolutely an amazing duo. We're lucky to have them. That's good stuff right there. That's the type of stuff that I would lock in for and just be like, yeah, this is my favorite show.
I'll admit something as somebody that listens to this program when I'm not working it. Mm-hmm. I don't look for every sound check with some of our friends of the program here. Like if there's a Schwartz or Stern sound check moment, I don't seek those out all the time. But anything with Shep and JR, anything with Shep and JR, I have to listen to it.
I know, it's so good.
It's perfect.
It's just so good. The chemistry is just impeccable, and they didn't know one another before they started working together.
Right.
So they've just developed this by working together on air, and they're great.
Have they ever met in person? Has JR ever been up here since
Yes.
Shep became the producer?
Yes, they have met.
That would be one of the great did you knows. Did you know the best radio team in the country has never met one another?
It's like an episode of Love is Blind, right? Showing opposite walls, never seeing each other.
Because JR is based in Atlanta.
Yes.
And Shep is based up in New York with us.
But Shep's JR's made a couple trips up here, yeah.
Nice.
And then anytime JR's on the road for like a big remote, they make sure to keep Shep here. We can't have him representing the company out in convention centers.
Shep needs to go to Atlanta. I think he'd be a big hit down there.
I could see that. I could see that.
He would
Because
definitely.
he could play Southern Gentleman.
Yeah.
We'd also find him if Ernie Johnson had the cold filling in on the NBA on TNT crew from Atlanta.
Love it.
We'd be sitting there going, wait a minute, how did Shep parlay into this show?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I think you're right. I think he would be a big hit as a Southern Gentleman.
Yeah. Derby day, all day, every day with Shep.
That voice you hear is Greg Caserta. He's in for Andrew Bogish today. Mr. Caserta, good morning.
Good morning, DA. And I'm a little disappointed that Bogues isn't here because I thought that he'd be sliding into the co-host chair. So it's good to see you, but Bogues and I were supposed to celebrate today. Dave Matthews Band released its first studio album in 5 years today.
Is that so?
It sure is.
Do all 12 songs sound exactly the same?
They do, yeah.
Do they sound like other songs that Dave has
Yeah, there might be a few in the catalog that there's some parallels. Yeah, I think if you hear it, you go, I know who that is. Anyway, it would make sense to lead with LeBron and the Lakers, but this is my first update of the day, so I'm going to dig in with hockey. One game last night, and I'm sure we'll get all the greasy details on a Friday Canadian bacon. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 overtimes.
Wow.
And now Ekblad will take over in the neutral zone as the Hurricanes couldn't advance it. Ekblad dumps it in down to our right. Here's Brent Burns, keeps it to the outside. Sam Bennett keeps it in out front. Tkachuk is shot. He scores! He scores! Matthew Tkachuk, the overtime winner. The Panthers take game 1, 3-2. The final. Matthew Tkachuk ends the marathon, and the Panthers go home happy tonight here in Raleigh.
Doug Plagans on Panthers radio calling the 3-2 winner for Matthew Tkachuk in the closing seconds of the 4th overtime. He's always high energy on the radio, but the fact that he's still bringing it in the 4th overtime is impressive. For the 6th longest game in Stanley Cup playoff history, would have been just the 6th game to go 5 overtimes or longer. Tkachuk, for the sake of brevity, played 2 full games over the course of one night and offered this after his 2nd OT winner of the playoffs.
Probably my favorite one so far in my life.
There you go. Imagine what the players' pads smell like after that game. How about 63 saves for Panthers goalie Sergei Bobrovsky?
It kind of becomes the game of attrition. You just trying to be patient and wait for the moment and for the shot, one shot at a time. You don't think too much ahead. You just stay with the moment and trying to do the best to keep the puck out of the net.
57 saves for Hurricanes netminder Frederik Andersen as the Panthers took a 1-0 series lead in the conference final. They are the hot team, and right now nobody's gotten the playoff mojo like Florida. Now to the king and his flock. Lakers down 2-0 because Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray were an avalanche in Denver.
Throws it off over to Brown. Left side now is Jamal Murray, guarded by Schroeder. Schroeder gets a pick. Gets a pick. Jumper good for Jamal Murray. Great pick by Nikola Jokic. Less than 3 minutes to go in the basketball game. Nuggets lead it by 7.
And they had no problems closing it out. 6-point win. Nuggets radio calling one of Murray's 11 buckets. Game high 37.
Buckets!
While the Joker dropped another casual triple-double. 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 12 assists. LeBron and AD connected on just 13 of their 34 shots from the floor and head back to Los Angeles trailing 2-0. Some NFL news last night. The San Francisco 49ers were confident that they'd be hosting Super Bowl 60, and it looks like they will, with that news expected to come out next week at the owners' meetings in Minneapolis.
Not good news for us going to Radio Row again, boys.
No.
The West Coast.
Oh, no.
West Coast time zones have nipped us because they go, no, you'll be on in the middle of the night. There's going to be nobody on Radio Row. So we have missed L.A. We missed Arizona. Vegas is coming up.
Yep.
They have not committed to sending us there. And now we got San Francisco. Are they ever going to send the Super Bowl back to the Eastern time zone?
New Orleans is in between.
Okay.
But that's Central, so that's the best shot. But this is ridiculous.
Are you guys going to 60?
I don't even know if we'll be a show at 60.
Wait, this year is Super Bowl 60?
No. This will be 2026.
That's the San Francisco one.
So they're doing 50 and 60 for San Francisco?
Guess so.
If we do go and we're a show, we're not staying where you booked last time.
Oh, no, the Tenderloin District?
No.
You stayed in the Tenderloin, huh?
Yeah, no, I had no idea about the civic geography of San Francisco.
That sounds like Mraz booked it just because of the name.
No.
True. And we saw some things that I'll be changed forever.
Yeah, there was definitely a point in time where DA was racingly trying to put in a code to get in the room, as I'm pretty sure I saw a needle hanging out of somebody's neck.
Yeah, there was prolific drug use on our block.
Wow.
Oh, out in the open, prolific. Yeah, hardcore drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No way it got better in the years since then. I feel like that neighborhood's gotten worse.
It's not usually something that cleans itself up.
Yeah, that's tough.
I was offered crack outside
which is wild because we were a half a block away from a Gap.
Yes, exactly. The Apple store.
There's an Apple store. There was a Gap, and there was like a McLaren dealership.
You're absolutely right.
And then
One block later.
Then we turned the corner into our block, and it was like a full-on drug den.
What a drop-off.
It was unreal. The turn was unreal.
San Francisco is dicey. They say block to block in New York City. That was like, every 5 feet you had to wonder what the neighborhood was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your experience in San Francisco was not so great? What would you grade it at?
I think San Francisco is a great town in terms of its uniqueness, its culture. I mean, the food was
That's one of the best food cities. I've heard that.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ghirardelli that we went to was awesome. The Asian food is amazing. The bread bowls that we got, the wharf is beautiful.
Yeah,
we went to
gorgeous.
the Full House houses are awesome. That really windy road, Lombardo.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Totally cool.
It's such a cool, the Golden Gate Bridge, the trolleys. It's such a great city, but it is dicey block to block.
Yeah, that's it. It's drastic, the changes. One block, it's like put your right foot in, put your right foot out.
Woo. Yeah, you had to stay on your toes.
Wow.
You had to keep the feet moving.
I love it.
It was like doing the cone shuffle or the cone run at the combine. You just had a kid. Okay.
No more tenderloins for you, Mraz.
When we come back, how much free beer would it take to take a golf ball-sized welt? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Let the Dallas fans know I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing because even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream will never do. I still miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
So in New York, the franchise is sinking. The team is terrible. The coach is a bozo. The players have quit. And it doesn't feel like it's going to get any better anytime soon. Now you have a report that the Giants players, multiple Giants players, have called out Ben McAdoo, how he's lost the locker room, he's lost the team, he's in it for himself, which is hysterical because remember that soundbite that we kept playing last week? Ben McAdoo insists that he's the beacon of light.
Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope.
This guy is the beacon of light and the beacon of hope. So why would any player not want to play for him? Blinded by the light, Ben McAdoo's the beacon of that light.
Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope.
Second down and goal from the 4. Goff is under center, strong right. All alone for the touchdown for the Rams score. Came in with no touchdowns. Today he has 2.
That's what I'm going to do myself. I'm going to lead by example. Keep playing, keep fighting, keep coaching.
Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope.
Goff again, bootlegs out to his right. Sammy Watkins, 5 yards beyond the defense, and strolls in for a bomb of a touchdown.
Excuse me, Mike.
No problem. We're talking with Ben McAdoo. He's just going to take a drink for a second. He's got a little frog in his throat.
Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope.
35-30. Robert Woods, first down 20. Touchdown, LA on 3rd down and 33.
No, the team didn't quit today.
What did you think of the effort?
They were playing hard.
Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope. Ron, I'm the beacon of light and I'm the beacon of hope.
No, the team didn't quit today. They were playing hard.
She's gonna make it to the night. She's gonna make it.
Mraz, did you see a team that played hard on Sunday?
No. Are you kidding me?
According to McAdoo, they played hard on Sunday. They just lost by 40 points.
The #1 sports talk in Tucson, Arizona. Chewing the fat and giving hot takes over hotcakes.
Jacksonville. Was that named after Michael Jackson?
From the first.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Happy Being Alive Day, the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
We appreciate you being with us on a Friday morning. You can listen to us on hundreds of affiliates nationwide and also on Sirius XM Channel 158. So if you were to go to a golf event, a golf tournament, and you were struck by a ball and it left a big old welt, would you be cool just leaving and being like, hey, comes with the territory? Or would you be PO'd? If you were struck by a ball from a professional golfer, would you expect something in return? Because one golfer who has only one PGA Tour win under his belt has now gone viral. Is this Joel Damon? Damon?
Dahmen.
D-A-H-M-E-N. Had an errant shot that skewed away from the course and hit a fan in the leg and left a big old welt. The fan tweeted out a picture of the welt on his leg. And this guy, this fan, Caleb McGuire, said, shout out to Joel Dahman for hitting my calf with a tee shot today on the first hole. He then asked me how much a beer costs at the tourney, and I told him $17 a pop. $17 a pop. I hope that's a double can, right? That's got to be one of those big boys, those tall boys. He then pulls out a crispy $100 bill and says, quote, I got your beers today.
It's about the money. MONEYDA.
And then they took pictures together. Would you take getting struck by a golf ball if it meant you got free beers from the golfer that hit you?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Now, that's on the leg. That's on the calf. That doesn't hurt that badly.
Right. Now, it's a little welt. It's not in your face.
What about in the chest?
No, because I don't know, rhythmic. I can't mess with the heart.
What about the neck?
No, you have an aortic valve.
Okay. What about in the head?
No, I think man boobs and up are off limits. Everything else, belly down. I mean, honestly, I'd take a shot in my privates if it meant free beer.
Is that right?
I got 2 kids, so I don't need a third.
Okay. The butt, that's fine. But you're saying on the front side as well, you would take an errant tee shot.
Yes. Look, it would hurt a little bit, but if I'm drinking for free on the course all day, sure.
Now, $17 a pop, you're not drinking for free with a $100 bill all day. You're getting 5 beers.
But how much do you need to drink on a course? Yeah, 5 beer, get a good buzz going.
And I would imagine, again, the $17 beers have to be the tall boys.
Yes.
So that's kind of 2 beers apiece.
Yeah, or 1.5. You're getting 9 beers out of that minimum.
So would you take getting hit in the crotch with a golf ball for 9 beers at the tournament?
Yes.
The answer is yes?
Yes. Why am I the only one answering?
What's that?
Why am I the only one answering?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Mornings are hard. Your sports radio show doesn't have to be.
I'm so happy you guys are still alive.
I am excited.
I am so happy. Laugh and learn every morning aboard the mothership.
Ooh. Have a good day. And all my homies gonna ride today. And all these mommies look fly today. And all we wanna do is get by today. Hey, we're gonna have a good day.
It's gonna be a good day with DA.
Hey, duh.
I do love the duh.
Happy Being Alive Day.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah! Happy Being Alive Day, everybody. Appreciate you being with us. Coming up in 20 minutes, we are stunned to news. In 40 minutes, Zach Hampel, that pig that just keeps hogging all of the baseballs around the country, really did it this time. Now he's been banned from one ballpark. We'll explain in 40 minutes. Next hour, Canadian Bacon. Hour number 4, Kevin Harlan from the NBA on TNT. Last night, Nuggets get a Game 2 victory. The story of the night was Jamal Murray. He was fantastic, 37 points, was just a killer in crunch time in the fourth quarter last night. It was a good game throughout. It was a tight game throughout, but in the fourth quarter, Jamal Murray helped extend that Nuggets lead and pushed Denver to a 2-0 series lead. I don't think that the series is over. I think if you're the Lakers, what you take away from the first two games was that we played well enough to win Game 2, but didn't. In Game 1, we dug ourselves a huge hole and found a way to fight all the way back, but there's no room for error. I don't think they have to be demoralized, but I do think that the Lakers have to know that Game 3 is really a must-win, and Game 4 is a must-win. You can't go down 3-0, can't go down 3-1. They've got to get both in L.A. to keep this a series. The one thing I will say from a Denver Nuggets standpoint is you could hear the anger building in Mike Malone's voice when discussing after the game how after the Game 1 win, the talk was the Lakers, and that Nuggets have internalized this. that they have been overlooked the entire year, yet they're the best record in basketball. They were the best record in the West. Did they have a better record than the Bucks? Check that for me. They were the 1 seed of the Western Conference, still are, obviously. They have a 2-time MVP on their roster.
Bucks had the best record, and the Celtics had a better record, too.
Oh, really? So the Nuggets were the 3rd best record of the NBA. It was Bucks 1, Celtics 2.
Sorry, the Sixers had a better record than them.
Really?
Yeah, the Nuggets finished 53-29. The Sixers, as a 3 seed, were 54-28.
Wow. Is that so?
That is so.
Okay, so the Nuggets had the best record of the West, but only the 4th best record of the NBA. And they've been completely overlooked. And yet, here is Jokic, a historically great player. And here is a team that feels completely underrated, overlooked, and that even when they win a game of the Western Conference Finals, the talk is about the other team. So they are clearly using that as fuel. And let's see if that can help elevate them to a road victory in L.A., which would all but sew up the series. They take the first 2 in Denver, and Murray was fantastic last night. Eric Spoelstra said yesterday that the play-in tournament is the best thing to happen to the NBA in a decade. As the Heat have taken Game 1 of the East, he said, I know that the play-in helped us. There are far less teams tanking. Everyone was fighting for it those last 2 months. Every game was must-see TV, and that was in both conferences. I think for the league, that's probably been the best thing that's happened in the last decade. He said it was a blessing to go through everything that we did. I have not been a part of a regular season like that. We all grew, got better from it. To not let it collapse our spirit, but really to harden us, steel us, bring us closer together, develop that kind of grit and perseverance. That's needed in the postseason. He said if we didn't have those moments, those crushing last-second losses, and then also a bunch of guys being out all the time, then maybe some of the guys that have contributed so much for us in the postseason, if they didn't have those opportunities, then they don't have that kind of confidence coming into the playoffs. End of quote. I absolutely believe in what Spo is saying about you go through the crucible of a regular season where every little thing matters because you've put yourself behind the 8 ball, and that carries over into the playoffs. I absolutely believe when you start playing really crucial, important regular season games, then you start playing with an edge. The norm becomes playing with a heightened urgency. And the norm becomes, we've already played at this level that the playoffs are, because without playing like that, we wouldn't have even been here. And I think that helps a lot of teams. And I think when you see, let's just take the NFL playoffs, for example, a wild card team that goes to a Super Bowl, I think that exact thing happens. You know, if you're the wild card team, you had to play in December games that felt like playoff games. And so that when you get to the playoffs, you're now already doing that. You're at that speed. And a lot of people will tell you in any of these postseasons, the playoffs are a different speed. And you can get caught flat-footed. When a 1 seed of the NFL playoffs loses to a wild card, one and done. When in hockey, a team like the Boston Bruins gets caught playing a pretty middling game at home in a Game 7 of the first round because they find themselves in a dogfight with the Panthers. When we see a 1 seed and they get rocked early, like the Bucks this year, I think a lot of that has to do with they were on cruise control heading into the playoffs, and then suddenly they were punched in the mouth and rattled and been like, oh, whoa, this is a different speed, a different intensity, and now we're down a game, or we're down 2 games. Now we're chasing where the 1 seeds have been so used to being the top dog, the alpha for the entire year, that you build traits and you build habits formed from that. So I believe what Spo is saying there. Now the question becomes, okay, is the play-in the best thing to happen to the NBA in a decade? It sounds like hyperbole at first. You're like, come on, the play-in? I mean, the Heat would have been the 8 seed anyway had there been no play-in.
They actually would have been the 7.
It would have been the 7, right, because they lost to the Hawks. So, I mean, how much different would this run be without the play-in? Maybe it's slightly different because they lost that Hawks game, thus they had to win in the 8-9 game, the second game that followed that, the second play-in game. They had to win that game. So I guess that's slightly, it's a starting point. But does the play-in prevent the tanking? Because that's what we were debating the other day about the NBA's culture of tanking and trying to get guys like Wembanyama or LeBron or pick your number 1 overall pick. And I think maybe it's helped a little bit, although I don't know if a team set out early in the season and realized this is not our year, do they find themselves in the 12 seed or the 11 seed with 2 months to play and they're like, oh, you know what, we got to go for it now? Or were they kind of always in the mindset of tanking anyway? A squad that ends up like the Hornets, would they have been, if they knew they were going to be bad anyway, would they have done anything differently? Or do you strive for the final 4 weeks of the season and be like, no, we got to play the play-in game? I don't know. Spo, I think, is being a good company man there. I don't know how much it prevents tanking, but I definitely think as you see the Lakers here make a run, and they were the 7, and the Heat make a run, and they were the 8, I think they were both helped by playing games late in the season that mattered. But I would also say this, that both the Heat and the Lakers are squads that weren't traditional 7 or 8 seeds. They were much better teams than their seeding suggested. And that the season had kind of gone sideways for them. For the Lakers, it was injuries and the busted addition of Russell Westbrook. And for the Heat, it was injuries and, kind of, I think, never quite finding their stroke during the regular season. And so then it came down to the final couple of weeks, and they said, okay, now we have to play like we know we can play. And that's why Spo, going into the playoffs, said, we think we can beat anybody. We think we're going to be the most dangerous team in the playoffs. He knew that 8 seed next to their name was not really the type of team that they were. We were just talking about this story as a golfer hit a spectator in the leg, in the calf with a ball, and said, sorry about that. Here's a crisp $100 bill. Buy the beers for the rest of the day. Mraz says he would get hit in the junk. Now, this guy just got hit in the calf. Mraz says he would get hit in the junk if it meant he got a crisp $100 bill that he could use for beer at the golf course.
Yeah. You could punch me as many times as you want. Just keep giving me hundos.
Well, you said you don't want the golf ball, though. What bill is that you're flipping out? Is that a $10 bill? A 20?
Pete.
What is that? Pete?
$100 bill.
Is that right? Mraz has a crisp 100 in front of me right now, waving it around?
I've come for props for the segment.
Really?
Yeah. Crisp. There you go. To show you. I punched myself right there. I shouldn't have done that, but that's mine.
Do you carry a $100 bill on you regularly?
No, honestly, my mom just came over and saw me for my birthday for the first time, so handed me a $100 bill.
Wow, okay.
And I realized I had it as I was doing the segment, so it fit for props for Cap.
Nancy, that's a very generous gift for you.
Yeah, came over, nice little card. Nice Hyundai, so maybe a little Chipotle today, we'll see.
Well, then what do you do with the other $90?
Yeah, put it away for my kids' college.
That is not getting into a bank account.
No?
No.
Gotta buy some fertilizer.
All right. Pete the Body, would you get hit in the junk by a golf ball from 300 yards away if it meant a crisp $100 bill?
Probably 200, not 100.
Would you try to negotiate with the golfer?
I'd say $200. That's it. There's nothing else to say after that.
So this golfer, Joel Dahman, was doing it out of the goodness of his own heart. It wasn't like it's a negotiation. It wasn't like the spectator said, I need $100 now. So if Dahman comes over to you and was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry about that. Here's a Hyundai. You would say, no, I need 2.
Wait a minute. How many yards?
I I just said 300. It doesn't say how far the shot was. It was a tee shot.
That actually matters.
Well, it was a tee shot.
But I think the bottom line is this. You could say it mattered. I get what you're saying. It was hard enough that it left a well.
Yes.
That's the key there.
Yeah, I would say $200.
But again,
or I'm going to sue you.
You're going to sue.
Yes.
I don't think that's on the golf course. That comes with a ticket.
I don't think it takes care of the job. You're getting hit in the leg for $100.
You guys, $100 you could pay a bill.
Yeah, but you could also get really hurt.
And if Dom is like, hey man, I don't have $200. I'm sorry, but I only have $100 on me.
Aren't we shocked he's carrying around a $100 bill too?
Give you my address.
You would give the golfer your address.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
You would negotiate with the golfer?
The golfer hit me.
Usually these guys get nothing. Usually they just stroke him into the crowd and that's it. Maybe they sign a golf
be better
glove.
You guys must be rich. I mean, you honestly
don't say you guys. I didn't say I would do that.
Or Pete. I mean, you probably could remove one of my testicles for $1,000.
Well, I have some respect for myself, other than you.
To me, if I'm standing there, I know what comes with the territory. It's like going to a baseball game. If you get hit with a foul ball, that's just the way that it goes. You know what you signed up for. And I'm sure the back of your ticket says we are not responsible if you get hit by an errant object. If the golfer comes over to me and shows contrition, is like, I'm so sorry, man. And he goes, how much are beers? And I go, $17 a pop. And he goes, here's a crisp hundy. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that he would even think of that instead of acting like an ass and be like, so what?
Yeah, I completely agree. You definitely should be grateful, and that's a cool moment, the picture and everything like that.
Now, I would not sign up to be hit in the stones for $100. Now, that's not a prop game that I'm willing to play.
If you got hit in the stones every single day, you could have $700 by the end of the week. You tell me you wouldn't take that?
No, I don't like to get hit in that area. No.
The pain goes away in 20 minutes, and then you got 100.
It's a tender, delicate area, and I don't need speed bag going on down there.
You got $2,800 a month there. If you just all you need is a shot there once a month, once a day.
I don't need Sugar Ray Leonard go.
Well, it doesn't have to be multiple punches.
But you're saying one a day all week.
A golf shot? Yeah.
Those golf balls are hard when they come from a tee shot. That's not like a little chip.
You know what? And then I bet you build up a little resistance. You might have a natural cup at that point.
Yeah, after a week of getting hit down there.
A turtle grew a shell at one point to protect itself. That's what happens, right? We got toenails at some point.
And you think the turtle might have developed the shell over 1 week of getting hit on its back?
But you know what? A couple months, suddenly you have a hard shell over your package.
You think that evolution happens over the course of a couple of weeks or months?
At some point, your body is going to grow something to fight. And if it sees that this is constantly happening, it's no different than fighting off a cold.
So you believe that your nether region might develop some type of immunity towards getting hit with a golf ball?
Look, not to get too scientific, we've all been there depending on weather and water. Things change textures down there. So you can't tell me that if you were kind of constantly getting hit, that texture wouldn't evolve.
Come on. Really? I stick with my statement. That's not an illogical request.
But again, okay, so you're at a baseball game.
Yes.
A pop fly pops up down the third base line. It pops you right in the head.
That's different, though. You have a chance to catch it. That's different. That's very different. The golf ball, very rare you're going to grab a golf ball out of the sky.
All right, what about, I'm trying to see the equivalent because if you got struck in the head by a line drive, it would not be the same. But let's just say it's somewhat of a line drive. You don't have much time to get out of the way. It hits you in the shoulder. And the batter comes up after the game and is like, man, I'm so sorry about that. Here's $100. You're telling him, no way, man. Here's my address. Send me more money.
Well, I got to see. I might have a big injury because
No,
of
you
this.
have this injury, a welt.
It
depends upon the moment. It depends upon the moment.
Really?
It does. It has to. I might be angry. I might be upset. It depends upon the moment. I think I'm not being illogical. I'm not saying give me a grand.
The guy doesn't have to come up to you at all.
Yeah, he's doing you a favor just by giving you $100.
I don't know.
I'd rather the $100 than signing a golf club or something like that Schwartz would take home and put next to the big giant Snapple fathead.
But I'm not using $100 to buy a beer, to buy beers. I mean, I'm putting it in a bank or building on it. I'm not using it to just waste it away on beer.
Well, so when this happens, so this happens relatively often because, errant tee shots happen all day long at golf tournaments. Usually the golfer signs his glove and gives it to the fan.
What's that? That stinks. Why would you do that?
That's actually not that.
What are you going to do the
That's
glove?
not bad either.
You would opt for that?
I would opt for that too. That's a little bit of a memento. You put it right on the shelf. I got a welt on my arm because of that.
Glove? Look, this is Patrick Reed's glove.
Yeah. And then if I
Jeffrey Dahmer's glove.
down on my
Joel Dahman.
Joel Dahman's glove.
down on my luck, I sell it.
Not Jeffrey Dahmer.
I saw a doc yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, much different guy.
Terrible guy.
Much different guy.
Much different.
Joel Dahman, much better guy, but I still wouldn't want his glove either.
No.
This is guys. It's $100. And by the way, I wouldn't buy beer with it. Maybe the guy was about to spend $100 worth of beer for the rest of the day. I'm sure that conversation happened. Oh, you drinking today? There's probably a conversation. You take the 100, you put it in your wallet, just like Nance at my house.
Yeah, but this is the same guy that wants $2,800 of golf balls hit in his area.
I would say that's a very generous gift that Nancy gave you yesterday.
I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but it
You're
just felt like
35
funny.
years old. Mommy doesn't have to give you $100 anymore.
I'm actually 36. I've approached my late 30s now.
36. Mommy does not need to. She does not have to give you $100 every year anymore.
Well, what about 50 from her, 50 from my dad?
Again, I don't think your parents, once you hit 36 years old, owe you a gift.
I didn't say they owed me anything. It was generous and nice of them.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when there's kids around.
Oh, yeah, don't spin this around that I'm not appreciative. I'm very appreciative. They didn't have to give me anything. It happened to be in my wallet. We were talking about a crisp $100 bill. I thought it fit for prop.
Okay, it does fit. I know that you have been known to give a lengthy Santa wish list to Mommy still in your mid-30s.
And they gave out Easter baskets, too.
I stopped doing that
demanded
at 34.
Easter baskets.
I stopped doing that at 34. You have not seen that out of me the last couple of years. It's all about the kids now.
Okay.
Santa doesn't have to bring me a damn thing.
Okay. Tell Danielle that.
And so you got the $100 from Nance. I'm guessing it goes directly to buying stuff for the family before Chipotle.
I am going to scratch my back here. I mean, I'm going to take care of myself with something.
Yeah. There it is.
Something. But no, I need a new hose.
You have to get hit with a golf ball.
Yeah, no, an actual hose. I got to clean the dog turds off the patio. I need a new hose. That's for the family.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. No, look, I don't know my nose. Again, $2,800. You can hit me every day. It's daycare for a couple months.
When we return here on the show, Greg Caserta is in for Bogusch, and he gives us Stunned to a News. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
He's got other nicknames that I want to run by you, okay?
All right.
See what you think. Number 1, Cookie. Now, he got the nickname Cookie because he once tried to heat up a cookie on a plastic plate in the microwave, took it out and burned himself. So he got the nickname Cookie.
Okay, Cookie not usually where I go for a male figure, but, I play football with a guy named Bagels, so I get it.
And how about a Big Al that really likes cookies? I think that would be understandable.
Well, yeah, that goes in lockstep. Who doesn't love cookies? I like the technique of a kid that age knowing to warm up a cookie and not just sticking with the cold one handed to him.
Great point. Other nickname, Bubba or Boomer?
I was called Boomer for a good portion of my baseball career as a little leaguer. Now, Trace Atkins has a couple hits. Honky tonk, badonka-donk. Keep you rolling, and the country's on, badonka-donk, honky tonk, badonka-donk. New York. In-your-face football. He's not talking about hipsters with beanies and Nintendo vintage T-shirts.
Who is?
He's talking about guys like me that throw those shoes on, get on 3:20 a.m. trains,
And are home by 9
get to work. And get to work. That's what I'm talking about. I am so convinced that this is the guy now.
Wow.
He learned from Belichick. He talked about what he learned from Bill, talking about square peg, round hole, and you don't force things and play in a guy's strengths. We don't have Ben McAdoo sticking a huge friendlies menu, stupid index card of a play call sheet in his face. We don't have Pat Shurmur being kind, not knowing when to challenge. And
Kind?
Yeah, he was supposed to be
coached a
That
game yet.
was his problem. He was too kind.
Yeah, he was too much of a gentle human. I have a
Wow.
I got news for you. Odell Beckham plays for this team. Janoris Jenkins plays for this team. Eli Apple plays for this team. They're not getting away with what they got away with in the past here in New York. This is no nonsense. This is a guy that's going to learn all 53 guys on the roster. It's going to reflect that. And this is a football team that, you know what? All these Sunday 1 o'clock games we got buried with Tom Brenneman calling games. We're back to playing Sunday night football. We're back to prime time. And we're going to start kicking the Cowboys and Eagles' ass. We got Super Bowls to win, and Joe Judge presents that.
We got bumped at Kenny Albert games on Fox.
It's really hard for me to take you seriously, dressed as Bart Oates as a cat burglar.
This is my run through a wall outfit. You hear that guy talk to passion. What's the heart beating? It's like Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, he was on cocaine.
I don't care what he was on. I don't care what he was on. That's a guy wants
What
me to...
are you on?
No, that's a guy, that guy's coaching your team. You're in the parking lot at 7 a.m. turning brats, pumped up, ready to go watch some football.
Now, here's my question. I agree Joe Judge said everything a fan would absolutely love. And if he said those things to the Maras and the Tishes, I could see how that could win them over.
Judge.
But if Tepper did not give Matt Rule $1 billion, the Giants definitely still wanted to interview Matt Rule to see if he would be their head coach.
Yeah, but you know what? If Joe Judge didn't talk like this, I bet you they would have gone above and beyond and paid Matt Rule whatever he wanted. But Joe Judge, 38 years old, guy from Saban, from Belichick. Who cares about Matt Rule? Matt Rule, take a lap. This is what it's all about. And also, I love the idea that he's not enough. He said it. I'm not a coordinator focused on the calling plays. I got my fingerprints on the team. Talking about as a special teams coach, you earn trust. You go to a wide receiver if somebody's hurt and you say you need him gunning on kicks. He knows how to get a finger pulse of a team. And he's only 38, which means we're done with the changeover every 2 years. This is 20 years in the making of the head coach of the New York Giants.
Any worry that at 38 he's too inexperienced?
Inexperienced? That guy was born to be a coach.
Oh.
If he talked like that at 4 years old, he should coach a football team.
Okay, 4.
Oh, my goodness. Honestly, look, Adam Gase last year, his eyes were darting all over the place looking for a taco when he was hired by the Jets. When Ben McAdoo was hired by the Giants, the guy wore a suit that only would fit Peter Schwartz, and yet he was on Ben McAdoo. And that's all we talked about. So now we're like crutches and opening press conference.
Break ends
and we're gonna
in
try
5
to what the heck? No.
Well,
this is a football coach.
Well, I'm just saying inexperienced like he's...
Choose your weapon. Peeps with salsa or a kielbasa to the face. The DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
26 minutes past the hour. DA with you here on CBS Sports Radio. A happy Friday to you. The DA Show is available on your phone. Use the free Odyssey app or the free CBS Sports app. Stream the show for free. In fact, on the Odyssey app, you can get live radio and pause it, fast forward, rewind. Pretty good stuff. Plus podcasts of the show and One Giant Step in New York accent as well. Our podcast all inside the Odyssey family, all on the free Odyssey app. Also, you can listen to us, as I said, using the free CBS Sports app. Just some guy tweets, can we stop giving DA control of the drops? Every morning he beats something so badly to death that I need to turn the show off until about 8 a.m. or so. Hashtag Roopie Roop. Hashtag Saturday night. I take offense to that. Not because you think I would beat a drop to death, because I absolutely would. I take offense to that because you don't realize that Pete is the maestro of the drops. Here's the way this thing goes. I have 50 hot keys in front of me. They range from the zap to an old man saying, okay.
Okay.
I have an itchy nipple chub rub.
Itchy nipple chub rub.
And an old man saying, okay.
Oh, okay.
I have 50 of these in front of me. And that's about it. And they are archive, old school, change very rarely drops. Many of these are the same drops that I've had in this box since we launched in 2013.
How many beers ago? Probably 1,000.
That drop is from Painkiller Pat, and that was from 2013. Those 50 drops I have at my disposal don't really rotate much. When you hear a song that Mraz sings on Canadian Bacon, something that just happened on the show today, last week, recently, when we play extended clips and loop them over and over and over again.
Here I go, here I go, here I go again. Girls, what's my weakness? Goals.
And specifically, when you hear Canadian Bacon, bad jokes and bad puns pounded into the ground.
The Wild were John Klingenberg to life.
That's the magic of Pete's fingers, okay? And so just some guy, I'm offended that you don't realize the magic of the audio on this show is Pete.
Gudikins.
Whether it's elbowing Morty D'Souza to get that tuba going.
It's not funny.
Or it's playing Mraz's Saturday Night over and over and over again. That's Pete's magic. So put some respect on that. Put some respect on the audio director.
Akira, I never really knew that you could play like this. Hey. Chicken
nuggets.
Hey. What is that? Is that fastball coming? What is that? Is that fastball coming?
Mraz actually doing a pretty good Cookie Monster there.
Not unintentionally, but not bad.
Brian tweets, DA, I can't believe you guys stayed to the Tenderloin District in San Francisco. That's one of the 3 worst neighborhoods for crime in the Bay Area. Yep, wish somebody would have told me. See, here's how that goes. I say, bosses, can we go to Radio Row? They say, sure. Find your own accommodations. I go, okay. How about the Media Hotel? They go, too expensive. And I go, okay. How about an Airbnb? They go, that's fine. So then it's up to my own devices to find an Airbnb, one that fits the budget, has 2 of us for me and Mraz, and hopefully has a little bit of space so that I don't smell him constantly for the week.
Calm down.
And when I search through my Airbnb reviews, I look for owners that have good reviews, obviously, and I also look for proximity to Radio Row, how we would get there to and from. And when I see a nice 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom loft in downtown San Francisco, which is relatively close to the Civic Center, so we can get over to Radio Row quickly in the middle of the night because, well, at that point we were doing mid-mornings. No, we were doing evenings.
Right.
So we had to get there in the afternoon, basically Pacific time. Where I picked actually seemed like a very strategically sound decision. What I didn't know was that that area was riddled with drugs. That's what I didn't know. What I didn't know was that at the corner of our block was human defecation on the sidewalk and somebody doing, I think, heroin in the middle of the day. That's what I didn't know.
There was a man with a needle stuck in his neck.
That's what I didn't know.
Yeah. We did play a fun game, though, looking down at the street, human or dog, as far as the defecation.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
What do you think? And you know what? Unsurprisingly, it's pretty easy to decipher. You know, even if you don't have a dog, you know what
mega poundage.
You know what human looks like. You know what animal looks like.
Yeah, it didn't have staying power the way the license plate game has on a highway, but it was fun to play for a walk.
It's not quite 100 bottles of beer on the wall, but let me tell you, kids, if you head over to San Francisco or you in any neighborhood that might occur, it's not a bad game.
And knowing all that, download the DA travel guide for Bob's Bar.
Oh, good point, Pete. Beautiful, beautiful segue, my friend. If you were deciding to head out to Bob's Bar on Friday, June the 16th, for the 3rd annual Bob's Bar show, there is a travel guide whipped up by yours truly, who's got 2 thumbs and wrote the travel guide, this guy right here. So check it out. We've tweeted this out. We've also put it on Instagram, also put it on Facebook as well. Or you can go to my website, DamonAmendolara.com, and your FAQ, as Mraz might say, facts and questions.
What is it again?
Frequently asked
Frequently asked questions.
That is all part of your one sheet, and it is part of your FAQ heading into the Bob's Bar show. Now, suddenly, the TV just popped on audio-wise here, so we are hearing the NBA TV rebroadcast of last night's Game 2 Western Conference Finals. Why? Who knows? Now we're good, though. Greg Caserta was there last year. He was a huge hit amongst the D-Aliens and friends and family of the Mrazzies.
San Francisco. Oh, Bob's Bar.
Yeah, did I not say that?
Yeah, I still had my mind on San Francisco.
I'm transitioning over to the Bob's Bar show.
Yeah.
Caserta, will you be able to make this year's Bob's Bar show?
I will be there.
Wow.
I'm not going to be there like I was last year. Like, I'm probably going to be working that night.
You won't be whipping the crowd into a frenzy on Bob's Bar after every goal.
I will be eating the way I did last year. I will not be drinking the way I did last year.
Fair.
Because I would say that was a good 15, 16-hour binge.
Yeah.
So I'll probably stay away from that this time around, but I am looking forward to it. That was really my first foray into the DA universe, and obviously a lot of us haven't recovered since then. So
yeah, it's amazing the star, how quickly it has risen on Greg Caserta, because 1 year ago was his first entry point into the DA show family, and 1 year later, I mean, he's a regular. Everybody knows Caserta. Everybody knows that he stands with a perfect 5 oinker. Now, there has been some controversy that you have retired, a little bit like Jose Reyes leading the batting title and then pulling himself out of the game after 1 at bat so that he can retain the batting title.
So I did say that the last time I was here, that I did not want to do it again because I figured I'd go out a champion. But I also fully expected to get a text from Mraz yesterday telling me to hop off the bench. So I would have been ready if called upon, but Mraz didn't know I was doing updates until this morning. So that's why I never got that text.
To be fair, nobody besides Bogusch knew you were doing updates till this morning.
Right.
Do we know why Bogusch is out?
Maybe the Dave Matthews album release party?
Okay.
Be lined up with his PJs, waiting to get it.
Okay.
But you know what? I realize why he's off. He's got days to burn.
Oh, we're into May now. We're getting to the nitty gritty.
I love that expression.
You love days to burn?
Days to burn. Every time I see it, like when it pops up in a DA show quotes tweet or something like that, I'm like, it's got a life of its own.
I think I'm going to do some merch about it.
I think you should too. Pete the Body, Pete's head on a T-shirt, and it just says days to burn under it.
That's right.
Sounds awesome. Or it's a calendar on fire.
That's right. Well, I will say, I do not like when people leave days on the table. You have them, use them.
Right. I think the thing that's so funny about it is that you said it in March, and nobody's ever said they've got days to burn in March.
Yeah, well.
Greg Caserta has headlines.
All right, DA, let's shake up dinner time with HelloFresh. Shake it up with 40 weekly. Shake it up. With 40 weekly recipe options, there's always something new to try. Get 16 free meals plus free shipping with code SKATE16 at HelloFresh.com/skate, like hockey skate 16. Paul Bissonnette was pissed. Wayne Gretzky offered nothing, and the Carolina Hurricanes were left feeling empty after their 4-overtime loss at home against the Panthers to start the Eastern Conference Finals. Canes head coach Rod Brindamore was exhausted like the rest of the studio crew. Oh, you're working late on television. I'm tired. Shut up. Sweet gig. Enjoy it. But reminded fans who had work this morning that it's just one game.
It's a tough way to lose a game, that's for sure, and go that long. A lot of ups and downs in that game. And so it's one game. You know, at the end of the day, it's one game.
Well, it was as long as 2 games, actually.
Yeah, technically. I teased Matthew Tkachuk before playing just a 3-second snippet after his 3-2 overtime winner. Here he offers the full explanation of his second overtime goal of the playoffs and his 6th overall this postseason.
Probably my favorite one so far in my life. Big. Big did not let it go to 5 overtimes there. But so many great contributions from everybody. Like, just looking at this sheet quickly, I mean, Monty played 60 minutes almost. Barkey took like 1,000 draws. I mean, I don't know. Like, it was like we're not even in overtime if Bob doesn't make that save on the breakaway in the third. So Bob played great. Everybody followed. Total team effort for 2 games, basically.
We'll be saying that after Bob's bar. Bob played great. We all followed Bob.
6th longest overtime game in Stanley Cup playoff history. And some great insight from our buddy Billy Giacalone in the newsroom before. The Florida Panthers won in Carolina, where the football team is also called the Panthers.
As you know, Monty, Vaughn's been working on a couple of new pitches, the Eliminator and the Humiliator, to complement his fastball, the Terminator. I heard that. Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school has really paid off.
That's actually what Billy said this morning, and he meant it.
Wow. And Florida's college football team down there in Miami is the Hurricanes.
Boom.
Wow.
Look at you just
look at that.
Tying it all together.
That's right. Nice big bow.
Canes and Panthers, Panthers and Canes. Nobody knows who they're rooting for down there.
Wow.
Beautiful. Hoops, the Nuggets more than held serve at home, taking a 2-0 Western Conference Finals lead over LeBron and the Lakers with a 108-103 win. Jamal Murray, 23 of his game-high 37, came in the fourth, erased a small deficit with a 3 with just under 9.5 minutes left, which gave the Nuggets the lead for good. He was 6 of 14 from downtown. LeBron just 0 for 6 from downtown. The series now shifts to L.A., where the Lakers have not lost during the playoffs.
I think it's even more you got to be on edge, because when you go home, you get in your own bed, you run your family, everybody's being cool and jolly and everything. Nah, you got to be even more on edge when you get home. So, we got to understand that going back and being down 0-2. There's no reason for us to get comfortable.
So you heard from LeBron. I mentioned that Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara is the likely destination for Super Bowl 60 in 2026. It would be the first time in 10 years since Broncos-Panthers, not that both organizations have completely bottomed out since then. Peyton Manning retired a champion. Cam Newton now has a cigar bar in Atlanta. And a recent report detailed Cam's morning routine. He has 6 shots of espresso that he sips on throughout the morning. And he also smokes a Nicaraguan cigar, which means that his breath is atrocious.
That's his breakfast?
That's how he starts the day.
Oh, is that good for a 35-year-old quarterback?
It's not good.
Oh, God.
But he's ready to come back, though.
He smokes a cigar every morning,
in the morning
for breakfast? Ew. Ew.
I knew you'd like that.
What could be worse than sniffing his cigar breath at 8 a.m.?
Cigar and espresso breath.
Oh, man. Cam's like, I got such a good idea. You're like, oh, Cam, can you brush your teeth first?
Oh.
We're going to run the steps today. I'm watching film today.
Dude, you would need a paint roller to whiten his teeth. You know how stained they must be, too?
He comes in. He's like, what do you think about this top hat and this monocle? You're like, look, can you brush your teeth first?
Oh. Hey, told me to wear a brown necktie.
Ew.
Legend.
Wow. So Tom Brady, to fend off getting older as a quarterback, eats goji berries for breakfast and does a 30-day cleanse every 2 months. What does Cam Newton do? He smokes a cigar every morning. That's my routine. Here's Tom Brady doing plyometrics or whatever. He's stretching. He's only drinks water.
Avocado ice cream.
And here is here's Cam Newton puffing on a giant Nicaraguan cigar every morning.
And he thinks there's not 32 quarterbacks better than him.
Yeah, I wonder why he can't get a job, because he comes into the office reeking of a cigar smoke every morning.
Were you in a lounge last night?
He looks like Kramer from the smoking lounge.
Your face looks like an old catcher's mitt.
Ooh, Cam, you stink. Were you at the clubs late? No, I just smoke a Nicaraguan cigar every morning.
He's in his car spraying for car. It's got that cheap cologne smell mixed. Ugh. Blech. Not good.
That feels like Ben Roethlisberger's training
100%. Blake Bortles.
Yeah, he
right?
has leftover Whataburger and then has a giant Nicaraguan cigar before he gets to the office.
Tremendous.
Okay, I think
we have time for Stunned?
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
So I always give credit to Robin, the 321, but today I got one from another source, this one coming from Moose, who sent me, not Mark Malusis, but Moose3782, who told me and informed me that Oscar Mayer's Wienermobile has a new name. They've announced that they are going to call it the Frankmobile, and it'll hit highways this summer and will have painted lettering that references the vehicle's new name, an all-beef Frank recipe. Among the slogans on the side of the now Frankmobile, called Keep It Oscar and Please Do Not Lick. So, keep your hands to yourself. This vehicle rebrand comes nearly 87 years after the Wienermobile's historic debut, July of 1936, in Chicago. A spokesperson for Oscar Mayer told Fox Business that the brand converted its 6-vehicle Wienermobile fleet into Frankmobiles and wants to see if the rebrand, quote, cuts the mustard with its fans. Oscar Mayer's Wienermobile drivers, formerly known as hot doggers, will now be known as Frankmobile Frankfurters. And I don't like any bit of this.
Well, you know what it teaches us is that apparently in the commercial space, buying an Oscar Mayer Wiener is now seen as like buying a cheap hot dog. And what they need to rebrand apparently is 100% all beef Frank, because now there's just much better hot dogs on the market. And a lot of people must be going in that direction. They see their market share go down. So now they have to rebrand to Franks. The problem is that a Frankmobile does nothing for you. It's sounding like Wienermobile sounds good.
They should call it the Frank Tank.
Frank Tank's
That's good.
But again, it's a Wienermobile, and that's what they've been for 90 years. I don't think they should change that.
I
They
agree.
can be 100% all beef Franks and do that whole thing. And what was the catchphrase or the slogan on the side? That's fine. But they should not change the name of the Wienermobile.
Keep it Oscar.
Yeah, that's fine.
Run commercials for that, but the Wienermobile stays the Wienermobile as it drives throughout the country.
And there's nobody that's going to suddenly switch gears and go, oh, look, there's the Frankmobile. Like, everybody knows the Wienermobile.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem very bright.
And Frankmobile doesn't roll off the tongue the same way Wienermobile.
That's what you can't combine Frank and Mobile. And also, people still call them Franks?
No,
That's not up here,
nobody
we
under
don't.
the age of 92 calls them Frankfurters.
You want some Franken beans? Nobody does that anymore.
That's interesting. I feel like Pete might call them Franks.
I don't call them Franks.
No?
Hot dogs.
Everything's a hot dog. Or a wiener?
Yeah, I mean, if
You call them dongs.
a dong or a wiener
Yeah,
if you're
throat
feeling
rockets.
frisky after a couple drinks. But the overall arching, it's a hot dog. Nobody's going Frank.
I think my dad calls them Franks, but he's older.
Right, it's the older. You want to come over for a couple Franks? I'll put a little mustard on. Nobody says that anymore.
Nobody says Franks.
Yeah, my dad says Franks.
Your dad. And my,
People
and
named
my
Frank
grandpa
say
Frank,
Frank,
coincidentally
'cause they're
calls them
older.
Franks.
What's that?
People named Frank say Frank because they're older.
My grandpa Frank, the one who I mentioned in the past, old Puddinhead.
Grandpa Frank calls them
Grandpa
Franks.
Frank calls them Franks. Frankfurters.
Oh, this would be a great poll. Too bad it's a Friday. Do you call them Franks or hot dogs? And how many, maybe 20% you get Franks?
I mean, we could do it. We just don't have to do the whole song and dance.
Okay. Why don't we do that? I'd like to know what percentage of our listeners call them Franks.
What were the Shea Stadium dogs you like, Pete?
Cons.
I
love
the
Cons.
cons.
Cons hot
Love.
dogs are delicious. Were. I think they went out of business. When we come back here on the show, Zach Campbell's a disgrace. Again, DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Enjoy life, okay? Don't always crack the books. How about you got TVs? Turn off the History Channel. Turn on Watch DA.
Do you think at any point you are projecting a frustration because you're not as smart?
No, I'm happy in my life. I am happy, okay? I get to come to work every day. I laugh. I watch sports. I pass gas. I eat.
Sure.
I'm a man, all right? I like my life. I don't need to go on some quiz show and let you know if I know, who laid the fertile stomping grounds in the desert of Arizona in 66. I mean, I don't need to know those things.
Those words have never been put together before.
That was actually just a Mraz word cloud.
Yeah.
He just kept grabbing words.
That's
just
66 in
strung them together. Yeah, the great year of 66.
The fertile grounds
The
of
fertile
Arizona.
grounds of Arizona.
Right.
In the great
this
year.
guy's just not being smart.
The great year of 66. So here's my question, Mraz. When you were in middle school or high school, did you resent the smart people, smart kids?
I was on honor roll. Like I wasn't Harvard bound. I was community college bound.
And then the accident happened.
Come on. That's not fair. There was no resentment.
And then the anvil fell from floor 3.
And the reactor leaked in the entire community.
That's not right. That's not right.
And then Mraz fell off the ladder.
4 stories.
He was walking upstage to get his Student of the Month award when he fell and struck his head on the stage.
Bitten by a spider that had just eaten a Domino's pizza.
What's freshwater?
He was giving a dissertation on freshwater versus saltwater. And then the accident happened.
Glad I can be the butt of the joke.
Right before going to Yale.
Yeah. Yale had accepted him. So in any of these classes, did you resent the smart people?
No, there was no resentment. I respected everybody, but you kind of just looked at the really smart people like, hey, you're kind of missing out on life here.
I see.
And I'm pretty sure my valedictorian for a while was a cashier at Stop and Shop after going to Carver.
So you feel validated.
Yeah. I have a blue check mark on Twitter. You know how to check out some groceries.
Oh, God. All right. When we come back, we got Trash Tuesday here on the DA Show. Who are you trashing? Tweet us, DA on CBS, or on the phones at 855-212-4CBS.
Get that DA quotes out.
Yeah, where's our DA quotes Twitter handle now?
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
$52 past the hour. Check us out, The DA Show, in podcast form. The best of the show, or the full 4 hours, plus the PGP, all in podcast form. Search The DA Show on your favorite podcast platform. Zach Campbell is that jerk that hoards all of the foul balls and home run balls at baseball ballparks. And now he has taken his jerkdom to a different level. There is a MLB The Show Twitch streamer. So this guy plays MLB The Show video games on Twitch all the time and has become a very popular streamer, kind of a social media guy, influencer named AJ Rodriguez. He's 25 years old. His handle is LittleMan17. Now, AJ Rodriguez has a growth plate situation. So he is, it's how he gets his handle, LittleMan17. He's resigned to a wheelchair. And, he's seemingly a pretty well-known guy, big personality, popular streaming, and he and Cedric Mullins of the Orioles actually created a little bond, a little friendship. So he was invited out to Camden Yards to meet Cedric Mullins before the Angels and Orioles game last week. And Cedric Mullins and him actually took a photo together before the game. And so they create this kind of cool moment. And Cedric Mullins actually hits a home run. And so this seems to be a storybook moment where Cedric Mullins hits a home run for AJ Rodriguez, and the ball is going to be retrieved and given to AJ, and this kind of feel-good moment for baseball and feel-good moment for Mullins and feel-good moment for AJ Rodriguez, who clearly has dealt with a lot of stuff over the course of his life. And who catches the baseball at Camden Yards but this a-hole, Zach Campbell? The guy that runs over kids and pregnant women and old people to get baseball. So he catches this baseball. When told, hey, man, that's kind of for AJ Rodriguez, you won't believe his response. I'll give it to you coming up here next. I can tell you this. Mraz began eating his breakfast the moment that we went to break last hour. By the timing in our ears that says 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 minute, 30 seconds to go until break ends, it was at 90-second mark. The 90-second mark, he was done. He had hoovered the entire dish. And Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch DA, was so enamored, just like I was, that he posted the live video feed of Mraz eating at his desktop on the simulcast. So you guys got to watch it and witness it as well. And now the D-Aliens are commenting on it. Mraz, what did you eat there? What was that?
First of all, let's get facts straight. I ate it in 4 minutes, not 90 seconds, because we were 1 minute to coming back when I looked up, finished, and realized you guys were staring at me.
No, but you had put down that bowl. I remember hearing the timer that said 1 minute, 30 seconds to go.
And then I went back. I had two things going on, and I'll explain. I had Pepperidge Farm light toast with some buttery taste spread and a little sugar-free jelly smeared across, 4 half pieces, so 2 full pieces of toast. And I made kind of like an egg white scramble. It was 2 eggs and some egg whites with diced spinach, tomato, and a little bit of a smattering, if you will, of black beans. And I topped it with some salsa, some everything but the bagel seasoning, mixed it all up, and it was like a scramble. I made that last night. I heated that up, had my toast. So I was going with the toast with the butter gel, going with the egg scramble, wolfing it down, and within 4 minutes, I had finished it all. But again, it was piping hot. If I wait any longer for 20 minutes to get through a bogus update, this, that, the other, I'm going to have cold breakfast. You got to make chicken salad out of chicken scratch.
Well, I mean, you just were a machine, and now we can see why maybe there was a chicken bone lodged in your lungs, because when you go to town, you really go to town. That was really impressive.
Yeah, well, look, when I'm hungry and I start getting the hangry headaches, I got to get it in me, all right? Like, I get it. People love the nice palate tastings and all that stuff, and I've been there, done that.
When it's time to eat, it's time to eat. And I'm going to sit down. You can handcuff me behind. I'll bend down like a dog and go through the bowl. And that's basically what I was doing. I wasn't like I didn't make something elegant there. It was spinach, tomato, eggs with a little toast. I've been there, done that. I know what that tastes like. I don't have to sit there and smell it and enjoy it, swish it around in my mouth. No, I just got to get it down to fill me up. Let me process with tape with a PGP if the show's not a lot of time for snacking today. So I got to get that in me. I have 4 minutes, and if I don't get it in piping hot, you ever have cold, soggy eggs? Not a good scene. Cold, soggy toast? Forget about it. It was hot. Get it down my throat. Be done with it. And the fact that you guys all got to laugh at a kick out of it, like you guys take your time, taking 4 hours to get through 4 pieces of toast, please. Yeah, you're so snooty. You eat toast and your eggs like the rest of us in a couple minutes. I went to Waffle House when I was on vacation. I was in and out of there in 12 minutes.
I can tell you this.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS Sports Radio. Live from CBS Radio Studios in New York City, it's the DA Show with your host, Damon Amendolara, featuring producer Mraz and the musical sounds of the Zap Zap Orchestra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's DA.
All right, and a happy Friday to you, everybody. Coming up in 20 minutes, we will release the Kraken, the Target Demo Friday meme, and you can let us know where you are and how you're listening. We'll read those coming up later on in the show. In 20 minutes, we've got Canadian Bacon, your night in pucks and puns, and that would include a 4-overtime affair last night. Game 1 in Raleigh in 40 minutes. Just how crazy is Tommy John's theory about why he's not in Cooperstown? Can't wait to play for you that. That's coming up later on in the hour. And last night, Game 2, Western Conference Final, goes to the Denver Nuggets as Jamal Murray has 37 points. He explodes in the fourth quarter. Last night was not a great night for either AD or LeBron. Anthony Davis, I thought, was active and showed energy and was trying to get involved, but his shot just did not fall. Shot just 4 of 15 from the field last night. And Mike Malone, after the game, saying, we heard after Game 1 that it was all about the Lakers' adjustments. We heard it, and we used that. And so this Nuggets team is playing with a chip on its shoulder. There's been many doubters throughout the season, including myself. And they are using that to their advantage. But I think even beyond motivation, because we know a LeBron-led team always has an edge and a motivation, I think what we have here when it comes to the Nuggets in this series is two players in their prime that are healthy. And that is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And when both are healthy and both are playing at an elite level, they are a massive problem in a 1-2 punch. And we just have not seen this in the last 2 years. Because Murray went down 3 seasons ago, really 2 seasons ago, and he was done for that postseason. And that kept him out all of last year's postseason and regular season. And now he's finally back this year. This is what the Nuggets were hoping to be ever since the bubble, but they couldn't be because they didn't have Murray. Now that they do, that's your full-fledged team. That's a squad that's got 2 really unguardable players when they play at their very best. And it is so interesting because both Jokic and Jamal Murray are really overlooked in the grand scheme of things in the NBA. But they're a 1 seed in the West, and they're up 2-0 in the conference finals, and they've never been to an NBA finals. And if they end up winning an NBA championship, this would be a outside-inside duo, a big man and guard duo that would go down in history if they could finally do it. Now, they haven't done it yet, but they are using the slights of it being about LeBron, AD, and the Lakers mostly and not about them to help fuel them. And a healthy Jamal Murray changes the equation for the Nuggets. I mentioned the Zach Campbell story. I mean, this guy is just beyond obnoxious. This guy goes to baseball games. He's collected apparently 12,000 home run balls, which at what point are you done here? You're already into your mid-40s. So you're not like a young kid. You're not a guy trying to make a name on the scene. Now you're just becoming a total a-hole. 12,000 home run balls you need to collect and famously refuse to give them back to the guys that hit them or other fans. So we have a moment where baseball is a feel-good, okay? And baseball's desperate for these things. There's a gamer named AJ Rodriguez who goes by Little Man 17. And he plays online, and people watch him play his games, and he's a very funny little dude. He's a little guy. That's his name, Little Man. And he's very charismatic and funny. And every time he plays, it seems like Cedric Mullins of the Orioles robs him or does something spectacular. And there is a viral video of A.J. Rodriguez getting robbed of a home run playing MLB The Show. And it's Cedric Mullins, and A.J. Rodriguez is like, oh, no, it's Mullins again. I can't escape him. It's Mullins again. And every time Cedric Mullins does something big, this video goes viral, and this is just attached to A.J. Rodriguez. Anyway, he gets invited to Baltimore, to Camden Yards, to see a game. And people take care of him all around Baltimore. Now, when I tell you Baltimore is an amazing place, this is why it's an amazing place. It's like what they did for Little Mo. Like when I went down there, we do our Little Mo get-togethers every summer. The city is just filled with amazing people that roll out the red carpet. And so he got taken care of by Jimmy Seafood. And like everybody rolled out the red carpet for him. The Orioles did as well. He got down on the field to meet Cedric Mullins. Mullins signed his jersey. And AJ is a big Angels fan. He signed his jersey. You can't escape me. And so they take a photograph on the field before the game during batting practice. It's this great moment for baseball. And A.J. Rodriguez, like he connects with kids and he's doing something that a lot of people connect with in the gaming community, and it's all good. And of all the things, Cedric Mullins is an Oriole. They're playing the Angels. The Angels are A.J. Rodriguez's team. Cedric Mullins hits a home run against the Angels. So again, this is the perfect come to life, a game where A.J. Rodriguez is in the building. He's got his motorized wheelchair going around in between during the batting practice, meeting players. Everybody's glad-handing him, taking photos, signing bats and balls for him. Cedric Mullins hits the home run. So again, there is the I can't escape Cedric Mullins. He's beat my best team, and I'm in the ballpark for it. The home run of all things is hit into the part of the outfield where the fans can congregate in the walkway, and Zach freaking Hampel catches it. There's a fan next to Zach who starts filming him and saying, hey, you got to give that ball to AJ. That's AJ's ball. And he just won't turn to the camera. And then he goes, who's AJ? And the guy that's filming goes, the Cedric Mullins guy. That's the Cedric Mullins guy. You got to give him the ball. And Zach Hampel's response is, I'm the Cedric Mullins guy. This guy is such an a-hole. This guy is peak obnoxious. That can we do something where we can ban him from Major League Baseball stadiums at this point? I mean, he's just hoarding baseballs from kids, from families, from people like A.J. Rodriguez, and Hampel won't give the ball back. He won't give it to Mullins. He won't give it to A.J. Rodriguez. He's just being a complete obnoxious fool about this.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. Now, you want to give him some respect because he has carved out a niche where we're talking about him on the radio because he has an expertise catching baseballs. He does this everywhere. He goes to every ballpark, home run derby. He collects baseballs. I mean, you caught 12,000 home run balls or whatever that is. That's an expertise, no doubt about it.
And some kids do idolize him, sadly.
Would it be any kids that we know?
I'm really not trying to make this about them, but yes, he's admitted that on the air that his kids are obsessed with him. They have the book and everything they've written.
When you say he, you mean Schwartz has admitted his sons idolize Zach Hampel.
I actually almost thought, and you're right, I almost thought to the point everybody knew who I was talking about. But yes, Peter Schwartz's kids idolize Zach Hampel.
Which is just the absolute worst of the worst. Well, at least one team says enough is enough. And there is a minor league team in Spokane that says we are banning Zach Hampel. He is banned. Now, Hampel didn't do this in their ballpark, but at Avista Stadium in Spokane, home of the Spokane Indians, which is the AAA of the Mariners, I think? Oh, the Rockies. AAA affiliate of the Rockies. They said, Zach Hampel has been banned from our stadium. Hey, a little round of applause for the Spokane Indians here. They're doing something that Major League Baseball should do, and that is throw the guy out of the league.
Throw him out. Now, the only thing I'll say is, when is he going to a Spokane game?
Probably never. But it's the principle of it.
Right, but now I wonder, are they trying to profit off Zach Hampel being a bad guy and trying to get people to go there? That I kind of don't like either.
Bump drafting off the popularity of everybody hating Zach Hampel.
Right, they're the Rockies affiliate. The Rockies should be the ones saying, we got this.
But maybe they set a tone. Like, we can do it. We're doing it. Maybe baseball teams are scared because they're like, well, there's nothing to ban him for. He didn't break any rules. He's not giving back baseballs. Everybody's allowed to fight for baseballs.
What you need, I hate to say this, but it's honestly the truth. You're right. He's technically not doing it illegally. You need somebody in one of these outfield chases for a ball, almost like a paid ringer under the table. He's got to get socked in the face.
Tackle him or punch him in the face.
He's got to feel like pain for this, and not like a wrestling. Like, he's got to actually be, people need to be punched. Like, he needs to be punched in the face and then have the guy escape. We're not going to press any legal charges because the team has really set him up to be out there, and it sends a message to Hampel. We will not tolerate this. We will not stand for this. I don't condone fan-on-fan violence, but in this case, I think it's warranted.
I think the choice is easy. I think the Orioles should set the standard and ban him.
The Orioles.
The Orioles.
But
again, he didn't do anything wrong.
He chased that ball. It's in bad faith.
It totally is.
It's in bad faith, and that's not the part of that they could create a standard here.
But here's the thing. He caught the ball. It's his ball. Like, we have a relationship with the fans who catch. It's their choice to do with the ball. He's being a jerk. I actually think it's wrong to ban him from. I just wish he would act like more of an adult. I think it's wrong to ban him from a stadium. I really do, because where do you draw the line in? Like, how many balls are you allowed to have before you draw the line? So you're going to tell everybody that they should hand the ball to a kid? What if it's been, your first game in 60 years and you catch a foul ball? You got to hand the ball to a 12-year-old? What if it was your life's thrill? Like, not all the scenarios are equal to the same thing.
Well, we know that you have personal experience with this.
Well, my father, yeah.
When Derek Jeter hit a screaming line drive to you. It hit an old lady in the head.
I mean, she wasn't old. She was like 40.
Okay, so middle-aged woman hits her in the head with a screaming line drive. She goes down. Ball spurts away as blood spurts out of her head.
I caught it on the fly off her head.
Mraz catches it on the deflection, holds the ball up like, hey, I got it. Mraz's uncle grabs his hand, shoves it down, and says, you don't say a word. Put that in your pocket. Don't say a word. Hide the baseball. And as the lady gets taken off in a stretcher, Mraz, instead of giving her the baseball.
I don't know about stretcher. It was a wheelchair.
Brings it home and has to live with that for the rest of his life.
Again, I was younger. Now, if I was in my 30s, I probably would have thought differently. I was a teenager. And
Gross.
yeah, it felt like the right thing to do. I caught a foul ball. I didn't even realize she was that hurt until 5 minutes later. It was such a whirlwind. The ball, Jeter's up at bat. I got this ball in my hand. It was a celebratory moment. I was so upset I didn't get the high five moment. That's what I was looking for you want the high five when you catch the foul ball. I couldn't have that because the woman was bleeding with, the seam mark in her head. But before that, I learned that because my dad at Shea jumped over the old bars and beat out a guy who was in his 70s, I think, at the time. For a Royce Clayton foul ball and was scraped up elbow to knee and made us leave the game early, drive home to show my mom he had finally caught a foul ball. This is what I'm talking about. It was a moment of his life. She didn't care at all, which he was disappointed
These
in.
are grown adults fighting for baseball.
But this is the point. That doesn't make what me or my dad did right. What I'm saying is you're in a spot where it's like that's a once-in-a-lifetime. You finally see you're on. This guy's got 1,200 of them. Come on. He needs to be punched in the face. If my dad did that at every baseball game he was at and left with a baseball, yes, somebody should punch my dad in the face.
But he's had a history of taking balls from kids.
He sure does.
So this could be.
Sure does.
I mean, it's not like he's totally has no. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's taking balls from kids, and that's a bad look on Major League Baseball. I think for allowing it to happen. I think the guy should be banned.
He's the worst.
Should be banned from every stadium.
He's the worst. Zach Campbell is literally the worst. I mean, you just couldn't get a worse baseball fan.
He's even got a crappy name, too.
You have 12,000 home run balls, and you can't give A.J. Rodriguez the one that Cedric Mullins hit on the night that he's invited to the ballpark.
And that's the thing. He's just going to toss it on a shelf somewhere and probably mark that Cedric Mullins
put it in a storage bin. He sucks.
And I think this is different, too, because he's profiting off of what he's doing. It's not like he's taking the ball, just going home and doing nothing with it. He's profiting off of this. It's a story. It's out there. And I think Major League Baseball has the right to go in there, and this is a special exception. Say, hey, get the hell out of here.
He sucks so bad. Hey, can we cue the music here before we go to break? Because Ostrich Eyes sent us all a hysterical picture on Twitter. He has created a DA Show bingo card, okay? You guys ready for this? DA Show bingo.
I saw this. I'm pumped up for this.
The middle square is yellow. It says DA bingo. And then he created all the other squares with Post-it notes, starting from left to right on your radio dial on the top rung. Top left, New York accent. These are all references, I suppose. New York accent. Bob's Bar. The A's. Pete getting angry. And Pat Boyle. The second row, Tom Brady, uniforms, Mraz getting angry, Bogusch walks out, or a Dixieland Dan tweet. Middle row, Rob of the 3-2-1, Rosie the cat, done for the day, and days to burn. Fourth row, Caserta, a boring guest. Jeez. Quote, fat, Gloria, and somebody saying, is that so? Then, bottom left, correct. 5 oinker, food talk, Marie in Denver, and then the tuba. That is the best bingo board ever.
That's not bad
That
at
is
all.
the freaking best bingo board ever.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my own weapon being used against me. Do you think we're predictable around here?
Take offense to the boring guest part.
Every single box there is a cliche of the show. So So we have an entire bingo board of a cliche of the show, and one of the boxes is the A's. Guess what? I'm doing the A's at 9:20 Eastern time today.
I filled that bingo board pretty quick today.
Yeah. And guess what? When we come up at 40 minutes past the hour, I'm doing a story from New York accent. We've hit the tuba already today. We do have Caserta in the building today. We have an angry Pete, although I don't think it was on the air. It was mostly off of the air for Mraz doing the deke out for the Canadian bacon.
Yeah, Mraz doesn't read the rundown, so he decided to tell me, get ready for a Canadian bacon an hour before.
We've had a Days to Burn reference. We have not talked uniforms yet, but I'm sure that's coming at some point. I think I have said, is that so? So we're doing really well on the bingo board.
Correct.
Okay, so you nailed that one. When we come back on the show, it is Canadian bacon time. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
If you leave the Cheesecake Factory and you somehow are not full enough that you can have intercourse in a tinted window SUV in the parking lot, to me, you have disgraced everything the Cheesecake Factory has built. You have not done Cheesecake Factory justice. You've not done Cheesecake. The last thing you should want to do is have anything to do with sex leaving Cheesecake Factory.
Interesting take. So you eat enough to basically explode every time you leave Cheesecake
Danielle
Factory.
knows it's like moving out of the lane for Shaq coming to dunk it. You just clear the path. You let me be in and out of that bathroom watching some Law and Order reruns when we get home after a Cheesecake Factory hit. There will be no intercourse whatsoever. I could tell you Taylor was not conceived after a Cheesecake Factory meal. I can't move. It's sweatpants on and it's whatever happens, happens.
He's proud of this.
So
He's
you
saying
basically
this with glee.
You eat the 7th chapter of the menu.
Yes, and I still have some to leave over for lunch the next day. You have that jambalaya, you go nuts. There's no way you should ever. Nobody's ever walked out of Cheesecake Factory if you've done Cheesecake Factory right. You know what I could go for, honey, right now? Why don't we have some fun? No. Matter of fact, if you're on a date night, you play mini golf first, and then you go to Cheesecake Factory. You can't walk 9 holes.
I've had in a long time.
Here's the thing. When you say do it right, that's not everybody's version of doing it right. Eating so much that they can't walk and they have to run to the bathroom the entire night.
But then go to Arby's if you're not going to do
What, that's your fine dining alternative?
But why are you going to Cheesecake Factory then? The name is in the factory. It's a Cheesecake Factory, which means you are parlaying your whole meal to make sure, like the people that don't get dessert at Cheesecake Factory, punch yourself in the face like it's Fight Club. Because why did you bother going? You are building up, and then the moment you read those apps, there's 44 of them. You got to get one.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not everybody eats to explosion and exhaustion like you.
Right, to diabetic shock. That's not a goal most people have.
Most people don't think you take advantage of the meal by eating until you're so sick you need to run to the bathroom.
Put some whipped cream on my head and run around like a dum-dum. Damon, I agree with you on the surface. I'm talking about this specific place. The whole buildup, it's like going to a concert and leaving before Springsteen takes the stage.
It's not.
Like cheesecake is sitting there waiting for you.
Okay, but again, the cheesecake doesn't mean that puts you into shock.
What do you think? You're having a spring mix the whole time until you get to the cheesecake? No.
Yeah, you know what
You're going
most
to get
people
those
do?
chicken littles with the corn succotash.
They don't have the whole loaf of the pumpernickel bread or the buffalo blast because they're going to have the 1,000-calorie cheesecake
But you
slice
walk
at the
in
end.
ravenous. I'm telling you.
Again,
Baker
this is
Mayfield's
not
a
how
disgrace.
this is not how everybody eats out. Like
Clearly, it's not how Baker Mayfield does
They
it.
don't walk into a place and say, "Oh my God, I haven't eaten anything all day. I want to eat everything on this menu, and I will eat until I vomit." That's not how most people. Like you look at it like it's a pig trough. Like I am going to eat every.
It is with waitresses and waiters in white nice shirts.
All right, so that gives us a little perspective. You look at going out to eat like a pig trough.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Cheesecake Factory, but it's a fancier trough. The bad
It's
news
made of
everybody likes to
stainless
make a piggy-
steel, not wood.
They're cooking in front. You can't. Point is this. You do not walk out of Cheesecake Factory if they're inhaling when you inhaled and go, all right, let's roll up the windows and let's drive behind back. No way. No way. You didn't do it right then.
So just
Go to
1 minute remaining. a 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The sizzle of the best goals.
Sing us a song. You're the overtime ending man.
The saltiness of the best games.
God, we're having a good time! Having a good time!
We crave the nightly action of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's a hockey, you know, it's only a game. Why do you have to be mad? He's a good guy.
It's your morning serving of Canadian bacon. Only on the DA Show.
Okay, a night that went deep into the morning. Mraz has Canadian bacon.
Thank you, Damon. After 2 nights off, the NHL playoffs came back with more vulcanized rubber on a sheet of ice than any fan in Raleigh thought they were paying for. The game had a nice pace to start and was scoreless for the better part of the first period, as Freddie Anderson and Sergei Bobrovsky weren't having a day off like Ferris Bueller. Instead, they were stopping puck like Alan Ruck. However, with 12 seconds left in the first period, Seth Jarvis had the power, putting Carolina up 1-0 into the first intermission. In the second period, Florida became the Sex Panther as they made the Hurricanes stink. The Cats found their anchor men with goals by Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhey. With those 2 goals, Florida would head to the third period clawing to a 2-1 lead. If Carolina was going to protect home ice, they were going to need to get creative. And 3 minutes into the final period, they found a way to Kern craft one into the net. Stefan Nation. Stefan Nation. Delivered.
Eric Stahl with the long reach for the Canes. Keep it in. Tenacious. 1, 2, 3. Tic-tac-toe. We're tied on the power play. Carolina. It's Stefan Nation. A beauty with the man advantage. It's 2-2 with 16:13 left in the third.
Stefan Nation with the goal. With the game tied at 2, it would be a long time before Twine was tickled again in this game. A tense third period would have us to overtime. 2.5 minutes into the first OT, Carolina appeared to have won the game, but the goal was overturned due to goalie interference. The first overtime would end scoreless. A second overtime would end scoreless. And then a third overtime would end scoreless. Even the Canes PA announcer would apologize to fans after 3 overtimes that the game was not over. In the fourth overtime, Sergei continued to bob and weave, preventing the fans from getting to leave.
Brady Shea has it for the Carolina Hurricanes. On for Natchez, dropped off Teravainen, left circle Teravainen to Shea, a shot, a save, Bobrovsky, rebound, oh, what a save, Sergei Bobrovsky, as Aho was knocking on the door.
The former Blue Jack Rabbit goalie Bobrovsky was standing on his head as that was one of his incredible 63 saves on the night. Finally, with time ticking in the fourth OT, it began to feel like a day of back-to-school shopping, and the Panthers would get to lace up a new pair of Kachucks.
And now Ekblad will take over in the neutral zone as the Hurricanes couldn't advance it. Ekblad dumps it in down to our right. Here's Brent Burns, keeps it to the outside. Sam Bennett keeps it in out front. Kachuk is shot. He scores! He scores! Matthew Kachuk, the overtime winner. The Panthers take game one.
Matthew Kachuk, sing us a song. Sing us 4 songs. You're the 4th overtime ending man. This becomes the 6th longest game in NHL history. Florida won its 7th straight road game in these playoffs and improved to 5-0 in overtime. Game 2 is Saturday night. Saturday night in Raleigh, less than 48 hours after these teams played more than 2 full games worth of hockey. That's a lot of hockey, and that's a lot of Canadian bacon.
All right, Mraz. He has done it. Gotten through Canadian bacon after a 4 overtime affair last night. Pete, let's hear the oinks. It's a 4 oinker. 4 oinker, solid grade, 4 oinker. Okay, what I liked about this, I thought for a big moment and a historic game, Mraz knew he had to rise to the challenge, delivered more energy, more sauce, more pop, trying to reflect the significance of the game. That was good. I really like lace up a new pair of Kachucks. Very nice writing. The rest of it, well, some of you might not have gotten the Blue Jackrabbit reference. I saw Caserta go a little cross-eyed there. We were watching a hockey game once, and my wife said, "Who's Columbus?" And I said, "You want to try to guess?" And she saw the blue and said, "Blue." I said, "Yes." And she saw the J as part of the CBJ initials and said, "Jack." And I said, "Uh-huh." And she said, "Jackrabbits?" And I said, "Yes." The Columbus Blue Jackrabbits. So that's
okay.
the joke.
All right, I like that.
The Ferris Bueller line was a cheap laugh just for me and Pete because Mraz knows we love 80s movies.
And you got the rhyme that went with Ferris Bueller?
The Alan Ruck.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I thought that was going to be a smash hit with you guys.
Stepped into the power, which I liked, a reference, but didn't have to sing it. You'll have to explain to me, though, the Stefan Nation.
Well, first of all, you're skipping the Anchorman reference.
The Anchorman was solid.
Oh, I missed that.
In the second period, Florida became the Sex Panthers. They made the Hurricanes stink.
Gotcha.
The Cats found their anchor men, and I mentioned the 2 goals they'd scored. I mean, that is the kind of writing you guys have been begging me to give you. And I ain't get there. What?
I thought it was good.
Okay. Now, there's a song, Zombie Nation.
I know the Zombie Nation.
And the guy's name is Stefan Nation.
Stefan Nation?
Yes. And
that's his name, Stefan?
Yes. Stefan.
And his last name's Nation.
Yes. It's not spelt like N-A-T-I, but it's pronounced Nation. So, that was the tie of the game. They have to Kerncraft one into the net. They got creative. They Kerncrafted one. That's the Kerncraft 400, I think is the name of the song or the band or whatever.
Oh, Zombie Nation sings Kerncraft?
It's still confusing to this day who's the band and who's the song.
This is the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, I looked this up. I saw it 3 different ways. Kerncraft is associated with Zombie Nation. You guys should get that. You don't get it, not my problem.
I don't think anybody knows that song.
What?
I don't know as the name of the song. I just know as the how it sounds.
A lot of us have, that song on gym playlists where that pops up and you would see Kerncraft 400 on there. Anyway, again, kids out there in Indianapolis got that. But then I gave you the Stefan Nation.
The only thing is in Zombie Nation and the do they say Zombie Nation in it?
Zombie.
Don't.
Zombie Nation.
They say that?
Don't.
Guys, I hear the song almost every other day. It's big on my gym playlist.
If you were to ask me what is, I would say that's Zombie Nation. But if I were to sing it, I would not be like Zombie.
That's basically the only words ever in the song. Zombie. Zombie Nation.
If you
That's
gave me
why I
a
was thinking
50-50
Stefan.
shot that they said Zombie Nation in the song, I would have said no, they didn't, and I would have lost.
Right.
Okay, that's fine that you three didn't get that. That happened in the song, so I should not be deducted points for that.
And I didn't deduct you anything. I just think you're a little too cerebral for me. I think that's the problem.
Caserta, did you think that was worthy of a 4 anchor
Yeah,
or more?
4 was perfect.
4 was perfect.
4 was perfect. What I liked about it was the energy was really good, and it just kept carrying to that crescendo.
Yeah.
And when Mraz goes high-pitched like that, I like that for anything. So with this, it was very well done.
Okay. Petey?
I would have liked to have seen that movie theme he was going with continue, because a theme throughout the whole thing would have been a nice change in terms of he had a good start with.
So you like the Anchorman?
I like that whole thing in the beginning.
The Ferris Bueller, the Anchorman.
I thought but we get on a movie kick. I thought we'd do a little more with the movies.
Okay.
That's one thing I was disappointed with.
Okay.
I thought just the song was, well, first, we do this all the time when we play instrumentals. You always start late on the lyrics.
No, I'm letting it kick in a little bit because it's not.
So you're hitting the post is
Hold
what
on,
you're
no,
doing.
no. I'm not going to stand for this now.
All right, whatever.
He just got done saying he didn't know if they even sang the word. None of you knew that. So now you know that I started late.
No, but
which is it?
I'm done.
I'm just going to tell you guys, I appreciate the 4 grade. I'm grading myself as a 5 on this. So anybody scoring at home,
You're
know
out of
that
your
I got
mind.
know
All
that I got a
right.
5 oinker.
No.
This was pound for pound my best script in terms of telling the story of an epic game while mixing in plenty of funny, really creative written lines and a classic song we should all know. And all sing along and bob along to. So just so you know, if you're driving at home, you can elect to choose to listen to Pete's score. I'm telling you, I got a 5.
So we're supposed to know all the songs on your gym playlist? Is that the...
Guys, I didn't pick this obscure song. I mean, this was a major stadium anthem for years.
Do you feel this was your greatest Canadian bacon ever?
Yes, I do. Writing-wise, yes, I do. And I
you're
think it
wrong.
matched the energy, and I think the game did as well. And I think that this is a classic case of you three either just not getting references, not my problem. Plenty of people did. Everything you've asked me to do, cleaner, tighter. Oh, that was funny when I dropped the Anchormen. The rhyme stuff I threw in there that people love with Boyle. I've given you everything now in this one that you guys have been begging for, and you still found a way to grade me down. If Pat Boyle reads the same script with the same bravado, he gets a 5. I'm telling everybody, hey, Twin Falls, Idaho, just know I got a 5.
Well, I find it interesting that we have gone over this exercise so many times, and you have said recently, I'm just going to do it my way. I don't care what you guys want. I'm not formatting this to what you want. I'm doing it my way. And now you're lashing out because you did it, in your estimation, the way that we want it.
No. I'm lashing.
He got a 4 and he's upset.
But why can't it be both? Because I'm lashing out because I had good momentum. We were off for 2 days, and I read the script and I was like, this is it. I feel really confident in this. These are the perfect lines. These guys are going to also love them. And it's everything they've asked while also doing it my way. I did it my way by also giving you really good detailed stuff about the hockey itself. This literally checked every single box of what Canadian bacon should be, and it still wasn't good enough for you people. So you know what? Enjoy your weekend.
You know what part of your problem is that...
Well, what's part of my problem?
You're
You
going
dopey
through an
shorts, you
identity
dopey
crisis.
Hat, you dopey Dave Matthews. What's part of my problem?
You're going through an identity crisis where you don't know who
Identity
you
crisis?
are.
You dressed like a 13-year-old boy today.
I look great. You don't like my brown shorts, but I've been told I look great in them.
You look like a kid that should get hit in the face with a kickball at rec today.
Well, you
Instead
know
of doing
what?
updates nationally, you clown.
Let me just pose this to the listeners. Do you agree with Mraz that that was his best Canadian bacon ever? And if we get the majority of respondents that say, yes, that was his greatest Canadian bacon, then I was wrong. I didn't feel like it was your greatest bacon ever, but if...
You've already polluted the pool, though.
No, they would totally come to your defense if they felt
You
like...
don't understand. It's a fun game for the listeners to root against Mraz and Canadian bacon. It is now pushing a rock uphill with these people that they want Boyle and want Boyle. They're not going to say yes. They're going to side with you guys.
There's plenty of people that love you, that want you to get higher grades, and I think there's plenty of people that are unbiased here. Do you think that was Mraz's greatest Canadian bacon ever? That's what he's suggesting. And if you guys say that, maybe I was wrong on this. I thought 4.25 was fair. I did not think
stopping puck like Alan Ruck. You're not getting it anywhere else.
If they say that, I'm done doing the Winks.
Wow.
You're not going to listen to the audience.
No. Then that means I'm wrong with how I do this. So if the listeners say that, we're going to listen to our audience.
Hold on.
If the listeners say that, someone else can do the Oinks.
Hold on. I don't like this attitude from Pete.
No.
Because I think Pete does a really good job with the Oinks, and I think that you've been very fair all year. No, let me compliment you.
No.
I think you've been fair all year. I'm being complimentary.
No,
you've been
not.
fair all year.
And
What I'm telling you is we are all wrong at times. I'm wrong a lot. Okay? Before I said I had an aortic valve in my neck that's in the heart. I will stand here and admit when I'm wrong. DA is wrong a lot. So what? If you grade, you know how hard it must be for you to grade these Oinks and hear this nonsense every day? You could be wrong for a day.
From you.
It's okay to step and go, maybe I did get that wrong. Why can't everybody else admit they're wrong?
Yeah, because you've become completely incorrigible with this. And I'm getting tired of doing it. So here's what's going to happen. Our great listeners out there, if they think that was a 5, then we are going to pass on the Oinks to somebody else.
Wow.
That
sounds like threatening the audience.
No, that's not threatening the audience. And don't say that, and you've become completely incorrigible with everything you're doing here. So that's what's going to happen. If the audience believes that was a complete 5, I will give up the Oinks to somebody else.
Okay, and you know what? If the audience doesn't agree, then I'm giving up Canadian Bacon and Robin. A 3-2-1 is to do it every day for the next 3 weeks. So that's why I'm going to threaten the audience too.
I'm not threatening the audience. I'm giving them another option, another thing that we could do as part of Canadian Bacon. That's all I'm saying.
Steven in South Carolina with a low blow. If Mraz wanted a 5-oinker, he should have just asked Caserta to do it. That's not right. Caserta has headlines.
How do you follow that? I don't even want to be here right now. That was perfect. So a couple of notes from this overtime game. Sergei Bobrovsky stopped 63 shots. It was Florida's 5th straight one-goal game. They've won 4 of them by identical 3-2 scores. So they start the conference finals the same way they ended the semifinals. They knocked out Toronto with a 3-2 overtime win on the road. And it talked about the Panthers having that magic. 6-1 in one-goal games. 5 of those wins have come in overtime.
Wow.
5-0 in overtime so far this postseason. So that's the team to watch. The Lakers now staring down the barrel. They return home down 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals following last night's 108-103 win. Jamal Murray sparked the comeback for Denver with 23 of his game-high 37 in the fourth quarter.
I mean, he was great. I mean, they definitely had plenty of chances to, score, and he kept us in there and gave us a chance.
Nuggets head coach Michael Malone says he hopes winning the first 2 games will change what he perceives to be a media narrative about this series.
I thought Mike played great, making shots. Bruce, I think everybody wasn't really offensive game for most of the game, but on defense, everybody stepped up and made big plays. Jeff came in with a big charge. I can go down the line, but everybody had a moment in the game defensively.
I think I probably played the wrong clip. That was Malone, but here's what he said about what was perceived going into the series between Lakers and Nuggets.
A lot of our guys, to be honest, they may not admit this or not. You win game 1 of the playoffs, and all everybody talked about was the Lakers. Let's be honest, that was a national narrative was, hey, the Lakers are fine. They're down 1-0, but they figured something out. No one talked about Nikola just had a historic performance. He's got 13 triple-doubles now, 3rd all-time. What he's doing is just incredible, but the narrative wasn't about the Nuggets. The narrative wasn't about Nikola. The narrative was about the Lakers and their adjustments. So, you put that in your pipe, you smoke it, and you come back, and you know what? We're going to go up 2-0.
I like that. And that's a fired-up coach with the team up 2-0, and he talked about Nikola with 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 12 assists. Another brilliant performance from him. Mitch Trubisky's hanging around. Actually, first thing, the Lakers lost back-to-back games, all playoffs for the first time all season. So we're all postseason, so keep an eye on that. Mitch Trubisky's hanging around for a couple of more years with Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's backup just finalized the 2-year extension with the Steelers. Baseball last night, despite the Cardinals blasting the Dodgers 16-8, Freddie Freeman hit his 300th career home run, becoming the 144th player to reach 300 homers and 1,000 RBIs. Coincidentally, 2 other active players in that club were in the other dugout, Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Arenado actually homered in the 4th inning. He's now gone deep in 6 of the Cardinals' last 7. Let's go Mets. With multiple catchers injured, they are bringing up Gary Sanchez. They signed him 10 days ago on May 9th after he opted out of a minor league deal with the Giants. He reportedly could have terminated the latest deal had he not been brought up to the majors by today. So our old pal with the Yanks, a 2-time All-Star, 154 career home runs, had seasons of 33 and 34 homers with the Yankees. He was with them for 7 long years. And we've got live golf. Yay. 2nd round PGA Championship. Bryson DeChambeau currently with a 1-shot lead at 4 under. Dustin Johnson is through 1 today. He is a shot back at 3 under. Scotty Scheffler tees off this afternoon as well. He is also 3 under par.
Very good. Thank you, Caserta.
Scientist.
The scientist. Coming up here next, I'll get to the feedback on whether Mraz had a 5-oinker there from the audience. And also, Tommy John's got a crazy Cooperstown conspiracy theory. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Wanted to have you on to really go back over the annals of Mraz's his athletic career. What do you remember from a young Mraz in high school?
Well, career is, I don't know if we could call it a career.
True.
So, Mraz, we changed a couple rules when Sean was in high school. Back in the day, we'd have 2 captains come out and pick the teams, and obviously the more athletic kids got picked first and so on and so forth. We felt bad for Mraz because he was picked last so many times that we ended up having the teachers pick the teams just so Mraz could feel what it was like to, come up first and stand in front of the class. So it's been a long time, but it's still in place, the Mraz law. So we'll go out to class one day and say, hey, what do you want to do? You want to let the kids pick this, or you want to use the Mraz law? So he left his mark on it, not for his athleticism, but for the couple of rule changes that we had to make.
Kind of like Newton's law.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So Mraz claims that he's got great footwork and hand-eye coordination for a big man. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, to put it simply, I mean, Mraz is the only kid in 27 years that came in and bunted in the wiffle ball game just to get on first base. So then that's true. So I vividly remember that one. We used to have great wiffle ball games, and Sean, he laid one down one day, and I was like, Mraz, are you serious? He said, Coach, I had to move the runners over, so he used that as the excuse to get the guys
Was
over.
it to break up a no-hitter? Because that's against an unwritten rule.
Probably,
We won the game. We won the game. It's about on-base percentage.
Right. Well, that's, he knew a lot about sports. Playing him was a whole different story.
We've kind of gathered that he was a class cut-up, a class clown, a big talker. Would you
definitely
qualify it that way?
He could push the buttons sometimes, especially if the calls weren't going his way, which I was very good at because I wanted to get the reaction out of Sean, and I knew I would. So he knew all the rules. Like I said, he knew all the guys, he knew all the teams, and he knew all that. But, as far as him actually getting in the mix, it was tough. We had to help him out as much as we could.
There is an infamous story where on a Halloween night way back when he got beaten up with flour socks, that kids in the neighborhood put flour in gym socks and would beat him down pretty bad. Was that something commonplace in West Babylon, this area, back in the early 2000s?
Oh, yeah. It was an old school place, very tough kids. Sean went to high school with probably some of the better athletes we've ever had in West Babylon High School.
Really? Big generation of athletes?
Yeah, great group of kids that went through there at that time. Very tough, so that story doesn't surprise me at all. And it doesn't surprise me that he was the one on the other end of the beating.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that you say, well, he grew up with a generation of tough guys and tough kids, but he was clearly not one of those because he was whimpering after getting pounded with flour socks.
Well, I think anybody would whimper after that one, but...
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You guys better be ready to hit the oinks, all right?
Stop telling me to hit the oinks.
I'm going to tell you to hit the oinks.
Stop it.
I'm going to tell you to hit the oinks.
Stop it right now.
The oinks are coming.
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Watch us on YouTube. Go to the CBS Sports Radio channel or on Twitch or at watchda.com. All of that is mobile friendly. A lot of feedback about Mraz's Canadian bacon, whether he deserves the 5 oinks he believes he does. I'll get to that coming up here shortly. And Mariana's holding on in Richmond to tell me something very important, so I'll get to her phone call as well coming up here shortly. But I just wanted to play for you a little snippet of Tommy John. This was so interesting. I had him on my podcast, New York Accent, and this is a guy that went to 4 All-Star games, but maybe never thoroughly dominant. Had a couple of 20-win seasons, but best known for the surgery that he had in his arm back in the 70s that led to him playing another 13 years in his career and it being named the Tommy John surgery. And he was a medical pioneer. But he had 288 wins, nearly 300 wins, and is not in Cooperstown. So I asked him about it. And his theory on why he's not in Cooperstown? Whoa.
If it happens, it happens. I think I should have been in years ago, but for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, but I won't say it. There was one player was voting against me all the time and getting other players that, but be that as it may, I've got a guy that's in the Hall of Fame now that's going to be on the Hall of Fame on the Veterans Committee. And his name is Jim Cott. And he said, TJ, I'm going to politic for you. He said, I'm going to see that you get in the Hall of Fame. You should be in there before me. I said, Jim, whatever, I appreciate it. I said, but do what you have to do and let the chips fall where they may.
So the writers had the ballot for a number of years after you retired. You got about 30-something% of the vote. You need to get 75%. Then it goes to the Veterans Committee, and that's where former players are on the board, the former executives, et cetera. It's there in the Veterans Committee that you know of somebody that was a former player, maybe an opponent or something that didn't like you and tried to make sure you stayed out.
Yes.
Have you ever had words with that player?
No, he's dead now, so I can't.
Did you want to say, did you know it was going on when it was happening?
No, I did not. But I, there had to be a reason why I was not getting a lot of votes. Now, granted, a lot of guys they think that I didn't throw hard enough or I didn't strike enough guys out or whatever. But I had a pretty damn good, I had 288 wins. That's a lot of wins. But here's the kicker. I had 188 no decisions.
Wow.
That tells you right there that, you get a quarter of those and I've got 310 wins or whatever. But
so if this player didn't like you and he's passed away now, why do you hesitate to say his name?
Doesn't do any good. I would say his name if I thought my buddy in New York would take a hammer to his kneecaps.
Well, He's dead now, so I guess it doesn't matter.
But you can't do it, right?
So what did this guy who politicked against you didn't like that you weren't dominant enough, or didn't like your attitude, or had something personal against you?
I think maybe all of the above. I don't know. But I got that from somebody that was on the committee, and they said, whenever we have our meetings, he goes in there and tells everything why you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow. What team did he play for?
I can't say.
That's bizarre that somebody would use all that energy to politic against somebody getting in.
I know it.
Bizarre.
I think you can make a good case why Tommy John doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, but it seems weird that a player didn't like him and was politicking behind the scenes for it. I love Tommy John there saying, if I knew my buddy in New York would take a hammer to his kneecaps, I would say his name. Yikes! Thanks to Tommy John, our guest this week on New York Accent. That's available all places that you get your podcasts. Mariana's in Richmond this morning. Mariana, what's going on?
Hi. First of all, may I please get a beam up?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. Okay. Question. Is Year of the Buffoon only for Mraz?
It has been in the past, but I guess it doesn't have to be.
Okay, because yesterday, when you said, wait, birds aren't mammals, that blew my mind so much.
It did?
And I thought of that. Yes, I thought of it because Mraz says DA is wrong a lot, and I don't recall many times where you've been wrong, but that was a doozy.
Lewis and Palmdale said the same thing, and so you knew right off the bat that even though they're warm-blooded, they are definitely not mammals?
Yes, they lay eggs. They don't drink milk. And also, have you not seen? I wish Dan was here because I know he would back me up. Birds are basically dinosaurs, so they're closer to reptiles than mammals.
Yeah. No, that is true too. Yeah, no, maybe that was a big whiff by me. It's possible. Now, I was told that it's because they don't have any fur, but I said, what about the fur that's on their bellies? But I guess that's not fur. Those are just itty-bitty feathers. But it feels like I've seen birds like around the base of their legs with like little fur. Before we let you go, our producer, Sean, who you met before, he once put a hex on Aaron Rodgers. He said Rodgers will never win another playoff game because Aaron Rodgers told him once upon a time, get away from me, buddy, because Mraz showed him a picture of himself.
Stop it.
Yes.
He told me to get away from him. You're going to find out why right now.
Okay.
I'm a big Giant fan. The Packers beat the Giants in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Right.
As part of losing a bet on the show, I had to go to Central Park in a Speedo covered in birdseed and have birds peck on.
Stopping me.
So a couple beers with Aaron Rodgers. I figure I'm going to show him the picture. He wanted no part of the picture. Was so annoyed that I showed him the picture. It said, get away from me, buddy. Now to pay off another bet.
Oh, my God. He was not nice to you.
He's not nice to you. So I had to find now another Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Right, that's me.
And hope this gets better.
Oh, wow, that is such a great. Is that you?
That's me
Well, you-
in a Speedo, birdseed,
that's
Central Park.
Yeah,
Terry. What do you think?
That's a great picture. Really. And I love birds. I used to race pigeons. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes.
I did not.
When you see Home Alone in Central Park, most of those birds were my birds. They're homing pigeons.
Right.
You race them and they come back home. Mine got lost and went to New York.
Well, none of them pecked on me, thankfully.
Yeah, no, none of them pecked on you. Well, I noticed you have no seed anywhere else but your shoulder. Maybe.
We'd have birds pecking down there, Terry.
So Aaron said, "Get away from me."
Get away
buddy."
from me,
Oh,
buddy.
that's
So
sad.
we just want to see if
I
another.
apologize for him.
Thank you. So you're not going to tell me to get away from me.
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Terry.
I'm honored that I'm next to you, bub.
Thank you, Terry.
Unbelievable.
Terry Bradshaw working on behalf of Ford in the Hall of Fan coming up this weekend. The Hall of Fans from Ford. This was such a pleasure.
Thanks,
you, Terry.
DA. Good to see you guys. Keep
too.
up the great work.
Thank you.
Aaron Rodgers ought to be ashamed of himself.
Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning.
Morning, DA. How are you?
CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, what's up, DA? Permission to enter the mothership, brother.
Ever heard a sports talk show like this before? Didn't think so.
What's going on, Dirty Dirty?
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DA, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Friday, boys and girls. One question only. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good, and I'm doing well.
That's all that really matters. Coming your way in 20 minutes, the saga of the A's to Vegas takes another turn. And in 40 minutes, it's Target Demo Friday. But standing by, he's the voice of the Eastern Conference Finals for the NBA on TNT, where the Heat got Game 1 in Boston after another Herculean effort from Jimmy Butler. Joining us this morning on the show, our friend Kevin Harlan. Kevin, good morning.
Hey, DA, good to be on with you, pal. Great to hear your voice, and thanks for a chance to visit.
Same with you, Kev. And you've seen a lot of great basketball players over the years. How would you describe what we are seeing and what we saw and what you called in Game 1 from Jimmy Butler?
He's been phenomenal, hasn't he? I mean, the game is always better when you have that kind of performance, clearly, but when it becomes kind of the driving force in a big game, it gets like so enormous and so massive that it just carries itself. And the building was stunned. But should we? Like, this guy has done this in the Milwaukee series. We called the 56-point game in Miami where he just could not miss and gets in that zone. And the swagger and the confidence that he gives his teammates is off the chart. It's so palpable when he begins to get going and the team responds and follows in kind. it really is fun to see. We saw a little bit with Harden. We did the Philly-Boston series, and Harden won 2 games with 2 spectacular 40-point performances, had big shots late in games to win a couple of them. And when a guy like that gets going, a Harden, a Butler, both, by the way, 33 years old, both, 12-year veterans, it really, you feel like you're seeing something special. And that's the way it was the other night with Butler.
Jimmy Butler had 4 All-Star game appearances before he ever got to Miami, so he was a really good player. But it feels like since he's gotten to Miami, he's taken his game to a different level. What do you think it is about the Heat that's helped him click into a different elevation?
Perfect match, culture, coach, and player. Like, not that he wasn't, set in Chicago or Minnesota or in Philly, but when he chose Miami as a free agent after what looked like a pretty good marriage in Philadelphia, it was the right time in his career at the right stage for where he was and exactly what the Heat needed. Like, he epitomizes what the Heat is all about. Their culture we talk about. He is gritty. He is tough-minded. He's the hardest worker in the room. He is not afraid of the big moment. He's a willing distributor and facilitator. He's there to lead. Like, he checks every box that a player that is in the sights of Riley and Spoelstra should have. And he is the perfect Heat player. And he fits into that culture and organization so well. And there's always a little bit of tension as you want to have within a team and on the bench and during a season, because that tension, I think, gets the most out of other guys. Actually, I think Boston could use a little bit of that right now. I think Boston needs a little bit of that grit, and they need somebody like a Kevin Garnett. And that is, take a guy by the shirt sleeve or by the collar and say, listen, when the play calls for you to be there, by God, you better be there. And if you're not going to set a screen, you need a guy that is forced. I think that they're looking for that in Boston right now.
Kevin Harlan joins us for the NBA on TNT. He's calling the Eastern Conference Finals for them. And having worked in Boston, I know that Boston fans are their own living, breathing organism when it comes to the atmosphere of the games.
You're so right.
What was it like in that building as the Celtics fans were recognizing, oh, God, the Jimmy Butler thing is happening in the fourth quarter?
Well, they've seen this before in a game one here. They have been witness to some pretty good, series hosting opening losses. And that is something that they're going to have to figure out. Their home record in the playoffs is not good. And Philadelphia came in here game one and beat them. And Harden was there. Remember, there was no Embiid. And so Harden had to lead him, and he was phenomenal, just like lights out, like Butler was in game one. So, clearly when a road team comes in and wins the first game of a series is now tilted. It's changed. Home court's gone, at least momentarily. And that's what Boston's got to live with right now. So it's like they're kind of making it more difficult on themselves. In the second half of that first game a couple nights ago, Tatum didn't touch the ball much in the second half. When he did, he turned it over. And it's not like he's got, that kind of look on his face or his eyes get wide and says, what's going on? It's he's come back from those moments and been phenomenal. He had a shooting slump in the first series or in the second round series against Philly for a bit, came out of it, in game 6, facing elimination, and set a record with 51, an all-time playoff record in game 7. So it's not like he's afraid of the moment. It was just one of those nights where the confidence was building with Miami. They were in the right place. They defended well. They forced the turnovers, like I said. And Boston has to throw up threes. Damon, they have got to throw up. They got to shoot 40 threes or more a game. That's when they're at their best. And they put up 26, 27 the other night. They can't win that way.
Joe Mazzulla got kind of testy after this game, and I know he's under a lot of scrutiny in Boston. It's a tough place to coach. It's year number 1. But I wondered if that was evidence that maybe this is getting a little bit to him, the pressure and the criticism. What'd you make of that exchange with the reporters after game one?
Well, the lights are bright here. There's no doubt, and it's as big a stage as any individual team faces in the league. The 17 banners are always above you, literally and figuratively. And so that is something that every coach here lives with. And he's 34. And remember, he was not at this time last year. He wasn't even in the first row. He was in the second row, right? Like he was 33 a year ago at this time, and he was in the back row of the two rows of coaches courtside. And then Udoka has the issues, and they let him go to a different category. He's suspended, and they got to find somebody, and training camp is starting, and who are we going to get? Who knows what we're trying to do? And they went with Joe Mazzulla. And I, at the time, I thought it was a good choice, and I still think it's a good choice. He's 34. He's got guys in the team that are about his age, and he's got one guy in the team that's older than him by 2 years, right? Like this is weird territory for everybody. Here's a team that was in the finals a year ago that had the coach everybody was talking about, who then gets in trouble off the floor, who they suspend, and now camp is beginning, and every coach that you'd probably look at, with a long off season is clearly taken, and no one that really you think can come in and adapt to what you're trying to do. And Stevens made the call, kind of like Riley made the call, 15 years ago, hiring a little-known assistant named Eric Spoelstra in Miami. Not a lot of difference there. Brad Stevens is a pretty good judge of man, player, talent, all of it, right? And he thought that Joe was the guy, and they won 57 games. They navigated a long season. They were the number one team in the Eastern Conference for a good part of the year, from November through February. And they had the regular ups and downs, but they were one less win than the number one team overall, Milwaukee. So it was a successful year, and they found a new way to play with more three-point shooting. His message is clear, but it's a players' league. And, someone will tell you and I, hey, you've got 10 seconds, then you got to sign off. And we do it because that's the way it is. And the NBA said, we're going to play tough man-to-man defense, and you've got to tramp every time this guy gets the ball. I mean, you can say it into your blue in the face, and if they don't do it, that's on them. And so I don't think it's a message or lack of depth or feel or anything like that. I know people get on him, DA, about the lack of timeouts, but listen, this is a coach who has done the same thing all season long. He has made his team, at their urging and on the same level, work through these troughs during games, figure out what's wrong as they're playing. They've done that all year long. Sometimes they'll give him a glance and say, we need a blow, and they call the timeout. And he's very in tune with these guys. There's great communication. So I really think it's more on the players and someone stepping up and being that Garnett and taking it by the shirt collar and says, listen, you blah, blah, you do it and don't sit there and roll your eyes and don't be lackadaisical. Get there with efficiency and urgency. And I just don't know that voice is in this locker room right now.
Celtics need that desperately. Tonight is game number 2 in Boston. Heat and Celtics, 8:30 Eastern tip on TNT. And Kevin Harlan's going to have the call of the entire series. Well, for those that thought this was going to be the Celtics breezing through to another NBA Finals, Game 1 proved that is far from the case, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Miami is they have 4 rotational players that are undrafted. Butler's 33. Adebayo is thought of more of a defensive guy than offensive guy. They're without their third leading scorer, Tyler Hero. They missed the defense of Oladipo off the bench. But they've got this like mental toughness and this ability to adjust, and a coach who's very, in tune with what they can and cannot do, knows the limitations, is showing the experience. He's been in 7 conference finals. He's won 2 championships. He's been in several finals in the NBA. So, he knows what's going on. He also has, basically the same infrastructure around him since the day that he, stepped foot on their Heat campus. Pat Riley's been there 28 years. The message is clear. They get the same kind of player. They look for the same kind of attributes. And so when he says we're going to make this switch, everybody's on board. Like they don't let go of the rope. They're all holding the rope and they're pulling in the same direction. And yeah, they don't have a team of flamboyant, superstars, although there's a case to be made that clearly they got one of the top 10 players in the league right now in Butler and one of the top 5 playoff players and maybe the best overall playoff player. And what Butler has done, he's been phenomenal, but this is when he always shines. Now will the rest of the team follow? And they do. They want to be led, and they have been led, and they've scrapped around to make their bones in the NBA. You got a 37-year-old Kyle Lowry who they purposely shelved during the season, missed a third of the year, resting a bad knee, and he's come in and been wonderful for them. So they've got every level covered. They've got defense on their mind, which they've always done that. They were the lowest scoring team in the NBA, but suddenly in the playoffs, they have hit their stride and they're playing their best basketball, clearly playing the best offensive basketball of the year.
Sure are. Tonight, TNT, 8:30 Eastern Time. Kevin Harlan and crew on the call. Heat and Celtics, Game 2. You're always super generous with your time, Kev. Thank you so much for doing so. If I don't talk to you before Father's Day, have a wonderful, happy Dad's Day. And I always appreciate our conversations.
Aren't you kind to ask me on? Thank you. Always enjoy visiting, DA. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks so much. Kevin Harlan joining us this morning on the show again tonight. Game 2, the NBA on TNT. Last hour, Mraz delivered Canadian bacon. He got a 4. He believes it was his best effort ever and delivered a 5 and that we just didn't see it. And so I said, look, maybe I'm wrong. Mraz really blew a gasket on that one. That maybe we were completely unfair. So if you thought it was a 5 and that Mraz was right, I asked you guys to tweet in at DA on CBS and let me know what you think. And it seems that most people thought it was good, but not his best. Okay? So let me just read through a few tweets here from you guys. Jeff C. in the D says that wasn't even close to Mraz's best Canadian bacon ever. Also, we had Kristen in Buffalo say, I've walked around my house saying, Anthony Duclair to 1-0 goal. And, baby, you can drive my Kelma car. None of the recent Mraz Bacons have had those moments. Bring back that type of writing.
Oh.
Clinton tweets, a better song would have been 7, as in Stephen Nation Army. Just saying, 4 oinks was a solid grade.
That would have been lazy and too easy.
Unpipe this says, Mraz, you're just being a big baby this morning, aren't you? One too many oopsies. What is up with Mraz putting everyone down and talking bleat when he gets mad? What a pathetic human being. Not a 5-oinker today. Take a lap. Mr. McCoy says not the best Canadian bacon because it was a boring hockey game. The post-bacon critique was more entertaining, Mraz, although you're still my guy. Lukewarm churro, very solid bacon, but probably not his best. I would give it a 4.5. Dixieland Dan, not Mraz's greatest ever, but it was top 3 for sure. I would have given it 4.5, but the song hurt it. Overall, great bacon, just short of a 5. We have to calm Mraz down. He's about to have his first heart attack.
How do you know?
Jeremy tweets, I wouldn't say his best bacon ever, but one of the better bacons he's done this year. Hashtag pork butt. Starship Kodiak says, Mraz had a solid bacon today. 4 oinks is right on. Learn and grow. Learn and grow.
Well, Pete gave me 3 oinks, first of all.
No, a 4. You got a 4.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a 4-oinker.
Oh.
If you paid attention, then you would know.
Kenneth says, I'm with Mraz on this one. Song is Kerncraft 400 off of the Kerncraft 400 LP by Zombie Nation. Not sure if that means he thought that he deserved 5 oinks or just he was right about the song name. Jerry at Comics Crossing says, I thought the oinks didn't matter, Mraz. Stop trying to be Pat Boyle. Hashtag oink the clown. Michael tweets, to be 100% honest, I was surprised that bacon even got 3 oinks. All inside jokes are nobody that nobody knows are not fun. I don't think they were inside jokes.
There was literally not one inside joke, so try again.
Portland Penguin Skulls tweets, Mraz was lucky to get 4 oinks. Cowboy Sooner says, I wouldn't have even given him 2. King Curtis says, what the hell? Half of 4 seems fair today. Canadian Bacon. But Black Rose says, Mraz, that's a 6 oinker. You're the best. Great job. Ignore the haters. Special stuff. The Fat Journalist, and that's an amazing Twitter handle. The Fat Journalist. As a whole, I think last year's Bacons were the peak, and it's going to be difficult to get back to that level. Today's was a 3.75 in my book.
Well, everybody's an oink expert. It's amazing.
Well, so the three of us here in the studio thought 4 was accurate. You thought that you were robbed and deserved 5, and that was your best Canadian Bacon ever.
Yeah, as did Black Rose, Tommy Topsman, and Citrus Thorn. They all thought 5 at least.
But then the 400 others that didn't.
So then I opened it up to the audience on Twitter, and I just read probably 12 tweets, and 10 of them said either it was right on the money or a little generous. So do you feel like you'd like to walk back that it was your best bacon ever?
No, because, again, you guys have polluted the water against me, and I know from doing my work and pouring it in, I'm sorry. This checks every box. This is classic moving to the goalposts. I don't know if you guys were trying to create some radio here by not giving me 5. Maybe you guys pre-conspired. I don't know.
I don't see how you could believe that if most of the audience agrees with us.
Because most of the audience doesn't even know what 5 oinks is anymore. It's so far skewed because we've gone so far down a path that I almost don't blame them. I feel very sad and sorry for them that they don't know what takes 5 oinks anymore. And it's fine. It's fine. Again, I've told the audience this. If you believe it was a 5, it was a 5, and that's what I am believing. I am driving, starting my car, a little push start today. The Sentra makes the right onto the Williamsburg Bridge. I know I'm leaving here with a 5 oinker. If everybody chooses to believe Pete scored, that's fine. You're going to drive around today saying Mraz got a 4 oinker, and we're just not going to agree on this today. So I got my second 5 oinker, and I'm proud of it.
So Tommy Thompson believed it was your best Canadian Bacon ever.
Yeah, and he did tweet this at you, so you didn't read it. The Canadian Bacon was Hall of Fame performance, 5 oinks all day. You don't know genius. Mraz told us it was a 5. Don't you get it? Pure gold. He works on a higher level.
I think it's a little sarcastic.
Yeah, that feels sarcastic.
No, he's telling you what I've been saying.
That's a little sarcastic.
I think it feels at least a tad facetious there.
Again, I'm not going to
read that tweet from Tommy again.
Okay, at DA on CBS. That Canadian Bacon was HOF performance, which stands for Hall of Fame. 2 exclamation points. 5 oinks all day. 2 more exclamation points. You don't know genius, period. At Mraz, CBS told us it was a 5. Don't you get it? Exclamation point. Pure gold, period. He works on a higher level.
Yeah, the don't you get it and works on a higher level indicates
feels
to me sarcastic.
Feels a little sarcastic.
See, this is what I mean. You guys are reading things the wrong way, interpreting things the wrong way.
Okay, so he gave
the last time I give you guys a Ferris Bueller day joke.
So he gave you a 5. The 12 other people that didn't.
Again,
they don't matter.
Those 12 people can go home today and say Mraz got 4 oinkers. I'm not going home and saying that. I'm going home and I got 5 oinkers. It's my reality.
Then we shouldn't even do the oinks. If it doesn't matter, right? You know, DA, if it doesn't matter, we shouldn't do it then. If he's going to give himself his own grade, maybe he should give himself his own grade.
Well, that's it. No, but I think that's a grade for some of the audience to agree with, and then I tell them my grade, and then they choose which one to agree.
You're not going to listen to the oinks, then don't do the oinks.
Well, maybe we should have the oinks in the hands of somebody else. It sounds like Pete is tired of getting blowback about the oinks.
But he's done a good job all year.
No, I'm
Can't
not
deal
doing
one
this.
day of blowback?
I'm not doing this every day where you come in and you backhand compliment me and you get sarcastic and you get mad.
BS.
No,
guys, can I just take you back, please?
No, I am not doing the oinks as of right now.
A month and a half of this.
Nope.
There were times where he graded me low, and you said, Mraz, I'm surprised you didn't argue with that one more.
Stop opening your mouth.
And what did I say? I said there will be other times down the road to play that card when it is more deserving. I think Pete has a hard job in front of him. I've said this for a month and a half. This is the time I've pulled out the reverse card on Uno and I'm slapping it down. I'm slapping it down. I waited for a month and a half to slap it down. This score was not right. This is why I didn't argue. You tell me I've argued for a month, and if I haven't,
yes, you
I
have.
quite literally have not. I even said I didn't even care about oinks. You guys can't tell me I've argued when I did the opposite for a month and a half.
Okay, you don't care about oinks. We're gonna give it to somebody else. DA, let's have a celebrity every day do the oinks. I think that's a good thing. I think the listeners will love that.
Okay, food for thought here. All food for thought. When we come back on the show, is the A's plan to head to Vegas eroding by the day? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Moose tweets, I'm trashing myself for deciding to drop $300 on Sunday ticket to catch every Dolphins game this season. Might be the biggest waste of money in history. Hashtag I'm sick in the head.
Stinky debris.
Pretty sick. Moose, what did you think this was going to be? You thought this was going to be a season worth watching?
Moose stinks, by the way. Stop referencing him.
Moose, I think, is the one that runs your Instagram football
stinks.
food of the week account.
He stinks. He grades every food of the week. We're 3 in. He's yet to give me an A. They're all A's. That's the point of doing them.
Pretty sick.
B- here, this, that, the other thing. Ooh, what is he? That guy on the Idol show?
Well, maybe your football food of the week is not as good as you think.
No, it is good. It is good. Not giving away A's.
Maybe it's not an A-worthy food.
He DM'd me last night. He said, do we have a problem here? I said, we do have a problem. You're going to run an account and make my foods, and you're not going to give them A's? Why am I putting them out there if they're not A's?
Well, maybe you...
So you don't want enough of him.
Maybe you think they're A's. Maybe he doesn't.
Well, how much more do I need to please somebody here?
Your food of the week last week was French onion dip with bacon.
How is that anything less than an A? How is that anything less than an A, Damon? I ask you. It's French onion dip with bacon. It's an A. It's not a B-. Why? Because you couldn't blend the bacon in properly? I'm just saying, you're going to put something with my name on it, the up-the-gut name. Have a little respect for and integrity for the man making it.
But so
French onion dip with bacon.
He's supposed to lie if he doesn't like your football food of the week?
Or just stop making them then.
He didn't like it.
But it's 3 now. I haven't gotten an A in 3 of them. Buffalo chicken stromboli. Where are you getting that? That's an A. It's a creativity's an A. The taste is an A. The week 1, I'm giving you pineapple and chicken marinated on a grill. If you can't make that into an A, maybe your cooking sucks.
Well, I mean, to be fair, number one, you've never gotten A's in anything in your life, so why would it start now?
Because if I could major in food prep, yes, I would have.
Number 2, I mean, 2 out of the first 3 are not all that creative. It was chicken on a skewer with pineapple, and then it was a can of French onion dip with some bacon in it.
What am I supposed to have, a trapeze artist hang from the ceiling with a blowtorch and cook something? How much more creative can I get? It's a Sunday. I'm trying to make it simple, watch a little football, enjoy a snack. What's your creativity? What am I supposed to do? Make a pizza pie on top of a skyscraper? What's going to get an A here? Freaking guy. If you don't like the smell of bacon in your house, there's something wrong with you.
It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried, just eat it! Just eat it! Just eat it! Just eat it! Oh! It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried, just eat it! Just eat it! Just eat it! Just eat it! Oh! Come on! Yeah! Come on! Yeah!
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Whereas you want one of these? Okay, I'm gonna throw you one. You got it. That's good hands. You could probably make the Guardians practice squad. So there is a giant, if you're watching, giant heart full of chocolates.
That's right. And a little teddy bear for you to cuddle with when you're
1 minute
disappointed
remaining.
in
Wow.
any particular result of the inaugural
Whereas you...
I don't want to say the wrong thing because it's not Scranton. I'm pretty sure I'm going to Scrotum, Pennsylvania.
No, you're not. Definitely. 45 seconds remaining.
It's not Scranton. It's not Scranton.
Scrotum.
I'm telling you, look this up. I am fairly certain it's located in Scrotum, Pennsylvania.
I think you're right.
I get a
30
lot
seconds remaining.
Lately, I've been not able to sleep.
Thinking about work?
No, just a lot of, I got a lot of anxiety.
Just restless, generally.
Just restless, yeah.
That sucks.
Now, Trey Atkins has a couple hits.
15
Honky tonk, but donky donk. Keep you running.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
I would get the tender crisp chicken sandwich. I would take a side of onion rings, and I would then open up the top of the bun and put the onion rings on the sandwich.
Talk about your way.
Yeah, leaving a few onion rings on the side to dip in. I would also make sure I'd have French fries because I like eating onion rings and French fries at the same time with the same bites. And then I would follow it up with I have to have the long chicken sandwich when I go. And I top it over with their vanilla milkshake, which for some reason at Burger King also tends to be a little thicker than what you would get at a McDonald's. And I think they got a thick shake situation there. So fries, onion rings, long chicken sandwich, tender crisp, and milkshake.
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, and a happy Friday morning to you, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us. Another wonderful week here aboard the mothership. It's a Target Demo Friday, so get them in when you see the Target Demo Friday meme of me as travel guide, Bob from Bob's Bar, manning his bar at the tip of Long Island, Mraz as Mr. Low T count, and Chonkosaurus, the chubby turtle from this week's Done to a News, plus Schwartz and Wembayama. You know to let us know where you are, how you're listening, and whether Frank's is an acceptable term for hot dogs. Another twist in the Oakland A's relocation saga. A story yesterday cites a big disconnect between the public money the A's need and or want and what the state and county are willing to do. From the Nevada Independent, a report yesterday that so far lawmakers are only willing to contribute up to $195 million for construction of the ballpark. $195 million. Now note that the A's originally wanted $500 million. Then it dropped to $395. Now it's at $195 at the moment. And they want to build a $1.5 billion stadium. Now, this is an organization that is claiming we got no fans, we got no stadium, we got no money to compete. And if all they get is $200 million from Nevada to build a $1.5 billion ballpark, that means the A's themselves need to come up with $1.3 billion for a ballpark. Does this sound likely to you? There is another $200 million that the A's are seeking from the state and the county combined. But there has been no legislation, no bill introduced to get there yet. And the clock is ticking under 2 weeks to introduce this bill. There would have to be an emergency session. And that's a pretty heavy lift for the state. And the thing in Nevada is they got things done for the Golden Knights. They spent a lot of money building Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders. And I don't know if there's this overwhelming drumbeat to bring baseball to Vegas if it costs more hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money. So who knows what Nevada will ultimately do? I can't pretend to know or predict what lawmakers there will do, what the county will decide, what the state will decide. Maybe they'll come up with that cash. But what I circle here in the story is that part of the issue is that John Fisher and the A's have been flippant have been flip-flopping, have been erratic and inconsistent in their project proposals, their strategies to get to the finish line of relocation and building a stadium. This is their second binding agreement in a little over a month with 2 different sites, and the second site flipped within the site. It is just not a sound ownership. It has no direction. And you have to remember where John Fisher got his money. He didn't earn this money. He wasn't a great businessman. John Fisher didn't do anything great or grand to land the A's. He didn't do anything in business. Mom and dad created the gap, gave him the company and the billions. And so he bought for $180 million the A's. And now he's gotten nowhere in getting a new stadium built in California, and it looks like he's spinning his wheels in Nevada as well. And to me, you just follow the trail of what he hasn't been able to get done and the people he's employed to get it done that have been unable to get it done. And if you follow that trail, you see an ownership group that is not focused, it is not pointed, it is not grounded. And because of it, you've got people that don't know how much business they want to do and how many favors they want to do for this guy. I know there are people in Vegas that would love to see baseball. I know there's plenty of people in Oakland that would love to keep baseball. And there's one solution here. Get rid of the cancer. That's John Fisher. If baseball forces John Fisher to sell the team to, say, Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, who has an open bid on the A's to keep them in the Bay Area, you have an excellent owner who has proven to do all the right things or employ the right people to get things done, like a new arena, build a winner. He's proven, again, the track record that he can do this. You force Fisher to give it to Lacob, to sell to Lacob, and Fisher makes his $1 billion of profit. Now you have a reasonably successful, overwhelmingly successful, and grounded owner in the Bay Area to get that done. That checks that box. And then the ownership group that goes to Vegas with an expansion team is also one that's far more trustworthy than this one, is one that taxpayers, county lawmakers, state legislators would say, well, okay, you've got a plan, and we can trust doing business with you, and we see your strategy and your vision. The issue is both sides are looking at John Fisher and the front office and the ownership group of the A's going, you guys are a clown show. There is nothing grounded or steady or consistent. And so everybody is kind of they're getting weak-kneed, or they're getting skeptical of what the investment of the A's is going to be in the project. The A's just want handouts. They want all the money that you can give them. They want all the favors. And you've got to trust that then they'll do right by you after the favors, and nobody is given an inch on that. And there's the issue that if you want to right the ship here, you've got to get rid of Fisher. You have to. That's the solution. And I don't blame Nevada at all for getting cold feet on how much are we going to give this guy? How much are we going to give this organization? Because, it's just a guy, it's a butterfly floating from here to there to here to there. And I would argue, not in good faith. Standing by, final headlines of the morning. Greg Caserta.
So just building off of what you were talking about with the A's, started doing a little Google searching, and this was from an article last June where an anonymous MLB owner said that the idea of revenue sharing is not to make money, it's to field a competitive team. That money is supposed to go towards players' salaries. Instead, the A's took the money and put it in their pocket.
No doubt.
Now, if you look a little bit further, Forbes came out with an article saying that Oakland's revenue last year was $212 million, dead last in all of baseball. Their profit was only $29 million, which ranks 16th out of the 30 MLB teams. So it's, you look at the books and we always say, well, we don't get the figures. We don't see how much they're actually making, but you get a pretty good idea of how much is going in.
They're spending almost nothing and they're taking all of the revenue money. And so, yeah, they're crooks. They're total crooks. John Fisher's crook is a crook and should be forced to sell.
You could just keep going on him, by the way, because every time you talk about him, tweet about him, I always enjoy it because he really is just
deplorable.
Yeah.
Deplorable.
So, DA, we'll see if the Western Conference Finals opener lives up to the hype from last night. The Panthers prevailed 3-2 in Carolina, getting a goal from Matthew Tkachuk to end the sixth longest game in Stanley Cup playoff history. It came late in the fourth overtime. That makes Florida 5-0 in OT this postseason after winning 2 against the Maple Leafs and 2 more against the Bruins in games 5 and 7 of the opening round. Tonight, the Stars visit Las Vegas, and Pete DeBoer knows it's going to be a raucous crowd.
We got through that stuff during the year, and for me, this is a road building, one of the toughest in the league, as we all know, and our guys have to be prepared to handle the momentum swings that come with playing in this building.
Wow, he didn't bore us with the details.
Yes. Your final hour puns they're getting worse and worse, and I love it.
It's not funny.
Keep it up, Mraz. I love you. So Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy said they're ready for a fresh start, but that the Stars are similar to last round's opponent, the Oilers. So game 1 in that series tonight. The Lakers lost back-to-back games for the first time this postseason. They fell victim to the Nuggets 108-103 in game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Again, the Lakers seem to only go as far as Anthony Davis. He did finish with 18 points and 14 rebounds, but only hit on 4 field goals.
Liked all the looks that I got today. Just a lot of them was short. Now I'm going to continue to shoot those shots. And like I said, I got to be better, more efficient, help the team win. So I'll be better.
The Lakers return home this weekend without having lost the game in Los Angeles during the playoffs. You've got the Eastern Conference Final game 2 tonight. Eric Spoelstra hoping the Heat go up 2-0 in Boston at 8:30 Eastern. And then to football, Aaron Rodgers sat down for his first all-access interview as a member of the Jets.
I can't say I haven't been dreaming about this. Once I realized this was not just a probability, but an almost certainty, you start to take your mind to all the different things that a new place has to offer. The first time you walk in the building, the first time you walk past the trophy, the first time you meet some of the guys, the first time you walk into the locker room, first time you sit down for an interview. Deep down, a lot of excitement. A lot of gratitude, not just for the journey of 18 years in Green Bay, but for the opportunity now to continue playing and play for an iconic franchise again.
He's on his talking points. It's always about gratitude, always about thanking Green Bay.
But the only thing
stop talking? It's May enough.
It's only May.
The only thing I disagreed with was calling the Jets a storied franchise. I mean, there's nothing storied about them.
They're old.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things are old. Doesn't make them great. Come on. So there's that. And then we also had something from Tom Brady, who sat down with rookie quarterbacks yesterday at a lunch that was held by the memorabilia company Fanatics. He sat down with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis.
Right, going in the second round, in the end, that's not that big of a deal. Going first overall, in the end, it's not a big deal. Right, it's great. You got opportunity. You're probably going to be paid more than anyone for a time period. But I was drafted, 199. I just outlasted everybody. There's another me back there, right? So how do I keep my edge on everybody? Facts. I had to keep working. I didn't go, hey, I'm good, right? I won 3 Super Bowls. I'm good.
Nice.
I can't wait to hear him call an NFL game. It's going to be riveting for $37.5 million.
He's the only guy that, as he gets older, his voice gets higher.
Yeah, it's very strange. Could be the HGH, changing the hormones a little bit.
Interesting if Stetson Bennett wasn't invited to that. The Rams told us he's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Stetson Bennett. And one last thing before I get out of here. Antonio Brown is a psychopath. He told WNYT in Albany, New York, that he plans to play in an upcoming Albany Empire game before the end of the month. Now, Brown has denied that he owns the team after reports of missed payments.
He's denied it.
After reports of missed payments and overall dysfunction within the organization. A few weeks ago, Brown's reps released documents stating that the team is owned by Antonio El Allah Express Trust Enterprises, with Brown claiming in a statement that he's a foreign national who was not born in the United States.
Wow.
Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk has the details on that one.
Oh, that's ugly.
And it's like...
That's ugly. Antonio Brown is now officially off the deep end.
Off the reservation.
Yeah.
Oof. Yikes.
Thank you, Caserta. When we come back, Target Demo Friday, DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Last week on the DA show, going in, you talking to Jeff Schwartz, and Jeff Schwartz, having to drag his fat ass from Charlotte down to Kansas City, talking about
Jeff Schwartz, former Chiefs offensive lineman, former NFL offensive lineman. His brother, Mitchell Schwartz, is an offensive lineman of the Chiefs.
And I say that kindly. Jeff, knows could laugh around, whatever. It's big on big crime. But anyway, he talked about how he thought about knock home, and he realized how many chances do you get to see your brother play for the Super Bowl? He has to be there. And it's always talked about with tickets and all these championship games. You always see the families, waiting outside, waiting to see their family members go to the Super Bowl. And here's Tom Brady, the arrogance of Tom Brady's family now, who has seen him make a 9th Super Bowl, said, you know what? Cold weather in Kansas City. We've been there, done that with the championship game. We're not going to even go. Tom Brady didn't have a single family member in Kansas City to watch him make the Super Bowl. That's how little it means to these people that they don't even go to see them make the Super Bowl, and Jeff Schwartz is bundling up because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you got to thank your wife on national TV, which, by the way, none of us care that you're thanking your wife as we're sitting there watching the interview. Please, Tom, please tell us about what you saw in the Chiefs' defense. I don't know first off, and then ask Evan what his question was. What, Giselle's going to be ticked off that you didn't, say, Giselle cares that much how much she gets her ass to Kansas City and freezes and watches her, like all the Chiefs family members did. If you don't care that enough and your family doesn't care enough, hang them up, get out of our lives, because you don't deserve to go to a Super Bowl, Tom. You don't deserve it.
If this was at Gillette, perhaps Giselle could have made the ride.
Yeah, great, convenient. Her and Bon Jovi will have some Stolios at halftime. But you can't get to Kansas City? It's not like they were playing the game on the moon. And remember, Bill Belichick said with the weather, I'll play the game anywhere. It's AFC Championship. We like being there. The family decided, Tom, we've seen that enough. We don't have to do that. I mean, that's like when my mom stopped sharing the Facebook videos from the DA show. None of her friends cared anymore. They don't care. We get it. Your son's on the DA show. All right. And that's the same thing happening now. Stop it.
Miami, maybe Giselle would have went. Maybe.
Yeah, she can't go to Kansas City.
No.
Too cold.
No.
What? To do what? To watch her go to a measly Super Bowl?
Yeah. I mean,
Who needs that?
Maybe she'll be in Atlanta for the Super Bowl, but getting to the Super Bowl, not a big deal.
I got B-Dub. Guy can't even eat a pulled pork sandwich this morning. He's so distraught.
Crying.
Giselle's just sitting home in her Uggs, waiting there for Tom to come home and scrub the toilet. Not a bit. Oh, another Super Bowl, Tom? Great.
Yeah. So we got to play football for another week. See them then for another 2 weeks.
What a disgrace. This is embarrassing. They should not be. The moment Brady said that, if I was Roger Goodell, forget what happened in New Orleans and Los Angeles. I'm reversing the game there. You know what? No, your family don't want to come. You guys don't deserve it. You're not going.
We have B-Dub, one of my best friends, talking about his 11-year-old daughter who is crying to him after the game. Daddy, we were going to go to the Super Bowl. Daddy, we were in the Super Bowl, crying last night. I said, how do you feel? He goes, I'm broken. I'm broken inside. And Brady, Giselle's been there so often, AFC Championship, they don't even register anymore.
True story. 2011, I vomited between fourth quarter and overtime of Giants 49ers. Literally went into the bathroom and handled my business. I was so nervous. And I had just seen the team go to the Super Bowl 4 years earlier. This girl can't get her ass on an airplane on a private jet and go to Kansas City to watch her husband go to Super Bowl? And now he has to waste the rest of the audience's time nationally to tell Evan Washburn that, sorry, hold on first. Forget your question. I got to tell Giselle, I'm thinking of you, honey. She could care less about going. You don't deserve this. Your whole family doesn't deserve this. Go live in a trailer park and get lost.
Get in touch with reality. It stinks. This whole thing stinks today, and that was the icing on the cake at 9:45 or whatever the heck time that was. That was time to shut off the TV and go to bed and understand, the rich get richer here, the poor get poorer. Get lost, Brady family. You guys suck.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's a Friday fiesta. Here's what our listeners in the Target demo are up to.
Mayo is in Tacoma on Odyssey. Come on, Wiener, the only acceptable name for a hot dog. No one is calling it Frank's anymore. Hashtag unpipe it.
Unpipe it!
Lee is listening on Twitch in Baltimore. Had surgery for my torn Achilles and was feeling a bit down, but hearing you guys in the morning brings my spirits up, helps take my mind off it. Appreciate you guys. Hashtag can I get a Bebo? AJ.
She's mousy. She's soaking wet. Shake it like a soul shaker. Stop on the beach, shorty.
AJ is also listening on Odyssey in Baltimore. Fan-on-fan crime is uncalled for, but you got to ban Zach Hampel. I'm throwing a free community event this Saturday at Eager Park in Baltimore to celebrate Clinical Trials Days. D-aliens are welcome. Oriole Bird will be there. Hashtag Target Demo Friday.
Can you look at yourself in the mirror?
Robert is listening in Pontiac, Michigan, WTRX 1330. It's Coney Dogs in these parts. Target Demo Friday.
The mothership disconnects.
Moose is in Wisco. Catching the podcast later on, starting the day off by busting out the waffle maker. I've never called a hot dog a Frank in my life. Hashtag you need to eat like this. You need to eat like this.
When I was just a baby.
Incognito Man says, happy Friday, listening on Sirius XM from southern Wisconsin. Frank is okay for a hot dog, I think. I'm okay with Pete the Body controlling the soundboard as well. Hashtag Morty D'Souza. Hashtag Goose.
Tonight, everything tonight.
Goose.
Everything tonight.
Goose.
And what you know. Tomorrow. Tonight.
Big Lauer is listening in Twin Falls, Idaho on Twitch. No one should say Frank's. Thanks to Mraz, great bacon. Thanks for the shout out. My daughter loves it when he says, little kid listening in. She said, Dad, he did say that to me today. Thanks for doing that. Hashtag power. Giannis Underumbo. Wow, that's not going to help us here.
Huh.
Giant has awokens in Boise on Odyssey. Simply put, hot dog and or Frank. Completely acceptable. Not acceptable, dong to the face. Hashtag get a taste. Derek in Pittsburgh. Listening on Apple Music. I got a fishing tournament this weekend. Gonna eat a few Franks over a campfire. Hopefully I can make it to Bob's Bar this year. Have a good weekend. Hashtag yeah. And Steven in South Carolina is watching on YouTube in Myrtle Beach. Frank is not okay. It's only supposed to be called a hot dog.
Yeah.
All right, what do we decide on your epic fail this morning?
It's me fighting with Pete and Caserta over my oinks.
That was a good one.
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
I do this all the time when we play instrumentals. You always start late on the lyrics.
No, I'm letting it kick in a little bit because it's like
So you're hitting the post.
Hold on, no. Now, I'm not going to stand for this now.
All right, whatever.
He just got done saying he didn't know if they even sang the word. None of you knew that. Stefan Nation. So now you know that I started late.
No, but
oh, which is it?
I'm done.
I'm just going to tell you guys, I appreciate the 4 grade. I'm grading myself as a 5 on this. So anybody scoring at home,
You're
know
out of
that
your
I got
mind.
know
All
that I got a 5 oinker.
No.
And the Panthers would get to lace up a new pair of Kachucks. So just so you know, if you're driving at home, you can elect to choose to listen to Pete's score. I'm telling you, I got a 5.
So we're supposed to know all the songs on your gym playlist? Is that the...
Guys, I didn't pick this obscure song. I mean, this was a major stadium anthem for years.
Now you're lashing out because you did it, in your estimation, the way that we want.
No. Stefan Nation. This literally checked every single box of what Canadian bacon should be, and it still wasn't good enough for you people. So you know what?
Let's get lit!
Enjoy your weekend.
You know what part of your problem is that...
Well, what's part of my problem?
You're
You
going
dopey
through an
shorts, you
identity
dopey
crisis.
hat, you dopey Dave Matthews. What's part of my problem?
You're going through an identity crisis where you don't know who
Identity
you
crisis?
are.
You're dressed like a 13-year-old boy today.
I look great. You don't like my brown shorts, but I've been told I look great in them.
You look like a kid that should get hit in the face with a kickball at rec today.
Well, you
Instead
know
of doing
what?
updates nationally, you clown.
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail.
Epic fail. Got so ugly. So ugly. Lukewarm Churro is listening in Boise on 95.3. Going to be celebrating all of the families' graduations this weekend while watching the playoffs. Frank is acceptable for hot dog.
Food is family.
Monty says, you know when you have that drunk friend who tells the same tired-ass stories over and over and over? That's what Mraz's bacon singing clips have started to become. We don't need to hear them for 90 seconds on loop. I mean, come on. Hashtag Target Demo Friday. Ouch. Soggy Fruit Loops, for as much as you guys trash Mraz for his bacons, you do use a lot of his drops and phrases. How many drops does Boyle have? Don't get me wrong, but are his bacons memorable? Hashtag True King of Oinks.
Oh!
And Dan in Mechanicsburg says, Happy Friday, eh? Caught the first hour 96.5 here. Rest on Amazon Music later. You can call it a glizzy, which I never heard until I heard Mraz say it. You can call it Frank. And my jerseys are lined up ready to go for Bob's Bar, and I don't want to miss a thing. And I don't want to miss. All right, thanks to Sean Mraz, Pete the Body Bellotti, Andrew Kaplan, and Greg Caserta this morning. Be good and be good to one another. We will see you on Monday. The Mothership disconnects.